Ethan, happy birthday, Ethan. Love your dad, Jim, and best friends Josh, Flam, and Gator. Good luck on the upcoming corn harvest and enjoy that cake.
Okay, I don't dislike Ralph, but I'm at a place, and I'm not being ironic, where I think it may be time to sacrifice Ralph to the corn. We have to sacrifice Ralph, Ethan Ralph, to the gods, so that the corn will be a bountiful harvest this year.
Josh, he's the owner of Kiwi Farms. He said, I need to be sacrificed so that we may have a good harvest. You will be harvested long before me, sir.
The drama with New Project 2, which has mostly subsided, and I've had time to collect my thoughts regarding it, so I'm gonna recap it. I didn't talk about it properly the last time I streamed, and I barely touched on it during my Space Station streams. But to recap, because again, for posterity, I like to pretend that my podcast is audio logs that a protagonist of a post-apocalyptic video game is listening to while shooting zombies or whatever. So for that wayward adventurer in the far-off year of 2024 who has no concept of what recent time means, 2 weeks ago, thereabout, probably a little bit more than 2 weeks ago, Dick Masterson, who is, of course, the host of The Dick Show and the world's worst Mexican, had to deal with... Actually, it was longer than that the text messages came out, where he's essentially coercing I think she's like a model or something, like a Playboy, into having a threesome with him and his girlfriend. And the text messages are kind of like weak and shitty. I think I played this the last time I streamed, but let me go ahead and pull it out because I enjoyed it. And there's a funny story attached to it. Oh geez, my computer's trying to render thumbnails for videos, and it's not going well. It's struggling to do this. And I wasn't really intending to play this clip, but I want to play it again. Where the is this? If I deleted this clip, I'm going to be really pissed off, because it's really funny. Aha! Okay. I think I played this before, but whatever. I'll play it again.
Oh, John Colt 72 says, what would you say? Now, I can't read all these words, John Colt. He says, what would you say if someone said they wanted to frick you raw and hard and passionate like a romance novel? Boy, that sounds awfully soft. Sounds real soft. That's a sad thing to say to anybody. I don't recommend it.
So if you're not watching the screen, if you're listening, that is a video of Maddox, who is Dick Masterson's like business rival. I don't know how to sum that up if you're not familiar with that. But the disgraced cuckold Maddox, who lost his girlfriend to Dick Masterson, is reading these messages from Dick. And this weird projected like virtual YouTuber thing where instead of being a cute anime girl, he's a cowboy. And his green screen effect is just abysmal. It's the worst. He's like a clown. He looks like a clown in this pathetic virtual YouTube setup where he's reading shit in like a cowboy accent. And even though Maddox, adorned in full clown outfit, is still able to take shots at Dick. And that's funny. And what's especially funny is Dick was asking while doing his stream or his podcast or whatever. He was asking for a clip of Maddox in this cowboy thing because he wanted to make fun of Maddox doing this stupid cowboy shit. And I posted that clip, and I thought he knew what clip I had posted. And he played it. And I was like, oh, he doesn't know that that's the clip of Maddox reading something from his text messages. And his reaction was to very hurriedly cut it off because I think he was surprised by the content of the clip. And then did not mention the fact that Maddox was making fun of him, which I derived a mixture of cringe, because I didn't mean to do that, and sincere amusement, because it's funny. But I think that kind of sums up the entire incident, because here's this guy who I'm partial to, I'm obviously biased towards, and suddenly everyone's very, very going at him. And to my surprise, I got wrapped in. Now, at the point that I was starting to get like really aggressively dragged into it by people yelling at me, I had done literally nothing. And that was kind of the problem, is that a lot of people really wanted me to go at Dick, or were trying to force me to. And I had no reason to, because the text message just, I mean, aside from Maddox making fun of it is funny. Him playing it on stream and not knowing what it was is funny. The actual text messages are just like boring, I guess. I mean, they're kind of gross, because I don't think either, and I can't say for sure, but I would assume that neither woman wanted to have this threesome. It seemed to be like a thing of opportunity. So I wouldn't like co-sign that, but at the same time, it's even hard for me to describe it, because it's like whatever. And that feeling, I think, is what most people had, but to many people, to not talk about it was a affront and a sign of conspiratorial commingling and covering up for one another. And after thinking about it for a while, I kind of think I know why. Because Ralph did do a big defense for Dick. He did like an entire, like, he had that Jesse from Pod Awful, which is just Dick's biggest anti-fan. He had that guy on the show, and they did like a cover-up for it. I mean, I say cover-up. I mean, they ran defense probably more than what they should have. So a lot of the drama probably stemmed from the fact that Ralph didn't handle it correctly and did too big of a defense. But overall, I mean, I could have just ignored it completely if it was just like a couple people, but it was a lot of people, and people within my circles and people within the forum who were like old users were mad at me. I was like, what the f*** is happening? What is wrong with people? And I realize now what it is, that all those people who are old IBS fans, people who came about and congregated due to Tonka Saw's stream way back when, and everything that came after, are extremely sick of the nepotism and what's the word? The complacency and stagnation. They're upset with the stagnation, because the main people involved in IBS right now are Ralph, Gator, Flamenco, Nick Ricada, me, I guess, to an extent, and Dick. And there's no like hostility between them. And the biggest antagonist to this stacked deck are people who you absolutely cannot side with, because they're just really gross. PPP coming in and offering himself up as this messiah for the poor lost lambs, the people who had been stuck in the desert for 40 years, wandering around in circles with no actual interesting things happening. He offers himself up as a guide out of this desert, and to an extent accomplished that, but to an extent didn't accomplish that, because I think that, barring unforeseen consequences that I can't predict right now, he kind of had his big shot trying to get Medicare involved, and that didn't go well, because PPP's big thing is when you start yelling at him, he's like a big sticky wad of gum. You'll get him stuck to you, and you'll look bad. You look bad trying to argue with him. But Jim didn't argue with him. He just kind of went, yeah, okay, maybe, whatever, sure. And there's no escalation there, leaving PPP in this awkward spot where he can't really attack Jim. So he ended up handling him with this reverence, this sort of admiration and reverence, which was sickening to listen to, and followed up with this guy named Leo Pirate, who definitely wants to f*** that dog, that Shiba Inu from the joke ending of Silent Hill. He definitely wants to put his cock in that dog. And he called Gamergate the 9/11 of the internet, and was just a horrific cringelord. And that I think, as far as, I mean, there was some steam left in it, but that was basically like the pipes bursting. And that was the end of it. But at least for now, I don't know. Maybe more will come about. But I kind of, that's my thought on it, is that people are just really hoping for some sort of escalation, and just nothing is happening. And it's mostly because the people left are all, if not friendly, I mean, they're non-aggressive. They're not people who antagonize each other. So it's a bit of a lame duck, and that's why everyone's so frustrated. So Medicare's gone soft. Maybe. I think what happened is after Monograph, there hasn't really been. I think with Monograph especially, Jim got put into this awkward situation where he's dealing with people who are kind of like Vordrak, and it's like, you can either, he already had a good thing going. It's like I can milk things like COVID and whatever, and I can make tens of thousands of dollars doing that with very little effort. And I can just avoid drama. I can avoid talking about specific people. Or I can continue antagonizing weirdos and end up in a situation like Josh, which is not a favorable position to be in, where you have actual dangerous weirdos coming after you because they can now. And I think after that point, with some exception, he lightened up. Because, I mean, someone like Kurt Eichenwald, Kurt Eichenwald has the money and potential to be like a menace to someone. And, I mean, I think the last thing Jim would ever want is to have a court date with a public hearing, and he has to walk up marble steps with random internet weirdos with their camera phones out, taking pictures of him as he goes to court. Even if it's a completely frivolous case that stands no chance of going through, 100%, lock-in, that would be like his nightmare, is him being exposed in public like that. So I think I don't know if he's gone soft. I just think that he knows he has a really good thing, and there's no reason to jeopardize that by picking fights with people who are dangerous and have way less to lose, PPP1 on gaining more fans, I guess. I mean, okay, I don't dislike Ralph, but I'm at a place, and I'm not being ironic, where I think it may be time to sacrifice Ralph to the corn. We have to sacrifice Ethan Ralph, to the gods, so that the corn will be a bountiful harvest this year. Because I think he has so much dad blood with all these people who hate him that it may be the only solution. We have to sacrifice Ethan Ralph for the harvest. I think it's coming. I don't know. He mocks my predictions. I did go all in predicting that Jim would bail out a new project too, which is Dick Masterson's Patreon alternative, and I was completely wrong, I guess. So he's going to hold me to that. He's going to say that Josh's predictions are bad, but it's just a feeling I get, because the people have demonstrated that they are tired of the status quo, and Ralph seems to be the one they all go after primarily, and people associated with Ralph, like Dick, become the next targets. So I do believe that the momentum against Ralph is mounting. And I don't even know what I would do as Ralph, like, I know I'm not like the best position ever myself, but I'm thinking, like, if I woke up as Ralph, like, what would you do to build something back up? And I think obviously the obvious answer is to kick alcohol. I think he denies that and says that his best shows were him drunk, but I have very little sympathy for dependence. I find alcohol, it's not entirely. I'm not like a completely sober person. I'll drink beer, especially with food, because I like to go to a place. I think if you go to a foreign country and you're eating local cuisine, it's important to have a locally brewed beer, with the food, because beer is just such an integral component of Western civilization. Especially, we drink beer when we eat. That is the white way of life. And if you want to experience a local food, you got to drink the beer too. But my point is, I really don't like dependence. I don't like addiction. I think people who depend on shit, and people who have lived with dependence will know this. But people who are addicted to stuff are users first and foremost. Everyone around them is an opportunity to fulfill that dependency. And the more addicted they are, the more that they're willing to exploit their immediate friends and family and connections to benefit the addiction, you know? So, I inherently distrust people who drink. And I think that Dick has been drinking more. I'm not saying this with privileged information or anything. I'm going based off his podcast. He's been talking about how he's drinking alone at his house during a quarantine where nothing is happening. And it's like, bro, that is, that's alcoholism 101. That's as bad as it gets. When you're drinking at home every day just to kill time, that's not healthy. That's bad. That's like actually bad. That's not like pretend consensual bad. And they say never drink alone. I don't know. I disagree with that. You can bust out the sink vodka once a week, once a month or so, and have a couple of shots if you're feeling a little bit stressed out. But if you're drinking like multiple days in a row alone, then you're becoming dependent on it. Yeah, I don't know. I see cracks and stuff, It's very frustrating because at my point, I'm 27. I say I'm old and people laugh at me, but I feel old, man. I really do. I'm starting to get there. I feel my age really bad, and I'm starting to think about things in a long-term way because I know people in this field, this sphere, this realm. A lot of them are late 30s, early 40s, and they're in a position no more stable than mine right now. And it's like, I can't imagine being 10 years older than I am right now and not having any more stability in my life. Like, that's a nightmare. So I'm looking at things like where would I live long term? Like, could I move to Estonia or the Czech Republic? Whenever I talk about countries, people start suggesting different places to live, and it's really annoying. But I've had a long list of countries I could possibly move to. And these days, my long list of countries is now very short. It's basically the Czech Republic, Estonia, or Alaska, which isn't a country, but it may be eventually. Maybe Alaska will secede. When the Great Civil War happens, Alaska will become its own country, and the Union will split apart 3 ways on the mainland. But that's what I'm thinking right now. I have to get land, and I have to get a gun. Czech Republic has guns. Can you believe that? They'll ask me, like, sir, why do you want a gun in our republic? It's very safe here. Are you a hunter? And I'll just say, like, look, Mr. Jakov, whatever the people are named in Czech. I imagine it's very similar to Polish names because Czech is very close to Polish. And I'm like, look, Jakov, I need a gun in case the Krauts come back down south, and they'll get me. They'll understand. Like, oh, that is important. If you're gonna shoot at the Krauts, we can issue you a gun, and I'll be like, yeah. That's right. Give me that license. Whatever. I think that's it. I'll read chat. Is there anything I failed to touch on? Have I inadequately answered the sweeping question? I'm talking specifically about this drama, not other stuff. I got more to talk about, obviously. No, not other stuff. Specifically, I didn't mention PPP. I said that PPP was like Noah or whatever, trying to lead, not Noah. What the was his name? The guy that led the Jews out of the desert. That's PPP. I'm not talking about the and liar. That's my take on him. He is someone who aggressively inserts himself into every drama. And as soon as he does, it's ruined. Because nobody wants to further the agenda of a and liar. You know what I mean? Moses. That's right. Moses. Sorry. Noah was the man with the boat. Moses was the man in the desert. Thank you. I get it. It's Moses. Thank you. What do I think of PPP's giant asshole he decided to share? It's so shiny. PPP has the puffiest, pinkest asshole on the planet. And one of my friends is very convinced that PPP is a homosexual with his roommate Surfer. And I don't know how he got the nickname Surfer because they live in like Manitoba or something. Like they live as far away from the ocean as you could possibly want to live. Anyways, they're convinced that the two are homosexual lovers, which I can't, because they think that the anus is bleached, like professionally bleached, because no man takes care of their anus as well as PPP, and I think, they think that anus gets used. That's I suppose that's my take on the anus question. That makes so much sense. Thank you for your insight. And Jesus, it is so clean. That is correct. His voice, I can't make fun of someone's voice. Come on now. I've actually tried to improve my voice. I've tried to improve how I talk and stuff. And I've tried to speak from the mask and all this other shit, and it doesn't work. My voice is just irreparably damaged. I don't know what I did to it. I don't know if I've always sounded like this. I don't know if it's just the fact that I don't talk most days. Like I go through my entire life speaking very little, and this is just how it sounds as a result of not being used. But this is as good as it gets. Ladies and gentlemen, I am convinced that this is as good as my voice will ever be. Say over. I can say over. Thank you very much. I mean nasally. I don't know. You sound less like a crybaby than when you started streaming. Well, that's good news. Excellent.
Let me bring on Ralph just for a moment. Ralph, are you there? Please, God, tell me something is going right.
No, Ralph. Literally, just look at the chat for the first 5 minutes, then ignore.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, well, I thought the chat...
They never say it. They
always lie.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, yeah, everybody trolls or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Check.
I think we're good now.
I don't hear that, though.
Well, are you supposed to be able to hear it through... No, because that's going through Discord, right?
Yeah, I mean, you played the theme
you should
song.
be able to hear it.
Test 1.
Anybody there?
Hello.
Hey, there we go. Okay, so it's
You hear
working
me?
finally. Yeah. Ralph.
Okay, so Discord, I don't know what's up with Discord, but your audio sounds degraded, like we're on an old phone or something.
Really? Is there a setting, a quality setting, or
Let me see.
I don't know.
Output,
it just sounds weird. And then when I
resolution
first
setting?
came in the call, there was like a 62 millisecond ping on Discord, which is pretty high.
Yeah, that is
but-
high.
Yeah.
Do I sound like shit right now to you?
I mean, I can understand you, and you're.
What the
I'm able
fuck?
to hear you, but it just
What
sounds
the
like
fuck is
the
going
audio
on?
at a lower level, basically. Like
The
lower
level's
bit
not
rate or
high
whatever.
enough? Do we need to bump the levels? Or
It's just the no, it's just the quality of the
Check.
like. Yeah.
Check.
Yeah, it's coming.
Is it sounds bad?
Yeah. The slapback sounds it sounds super filtered and
How about now?
Yeah.
That's probably too high. I got it at 100. Is YouTube like that?
Diginy
Says YouTube
said
sounds
tell them to
fine.
check if they have the right source on Discord. That could be it too. Yeah.
I do. I have the digital source.
yeah, you're getting it digitally
Shockingly.
from here.
SPDF.
what are the other inputs?
I mean, there's a bunch of them.
They're saying the YouTube sounds better, so it must just be It's probably just Discord.
God damn
Like I
it.
said, Discord was acting goofy when I
It
first
might be your
joined, so-
Discord because what is your connection level?
Ether.
Well, now it's
It
a little
says-
bit.
no, it says
better.
you
Let
got
me
green.
see.
I hear digital popping too.
That might just be Ralph. All right. Well, Ralph, you've
Could be.
missed the story of a lifetime. That was 40 minutes of me talking about Maddox's ultimate blunder
To no one.
to no one.
But we heard laughter in our heads.
Oh, God. What is going on? What has united these autistic forces across 3 fronts to fight in a war to... we're going all the way up to the White House. All because of my cock. My cock has jump-started 1,000 spurgs, has launched 1,000 spurgs that has...
Just think of where we've come. You know, we had the text messages. That seems like a year ago now. We had them come in and start the text message thing, and then we had a couple weeks of autism with Fraudwinson and Ashley there, and then it rolled right into Keemstar versus Ethan Klein, which then bizarrely rolled into the Maddox reveal, which I did not see coming on Friday, I have to say.
Man, I felt like an asshole saying it. I just felt like I was being paranoid and crazy, but it is just so obvious. And it was crazy the number of people who listened to the show, the biggest problem, who knew it instantly. They're like, yeah, I've listened to hundreds of hours of that guy talk. I know him, pitch shifted or not.
Yep.
All he had to do was calm down and speak clearly. You know?
Or just throw your voice a little bit. I mean, I guess he thought he was in the clear, you know what I mean? With the
There are
change.
so many
little
ways
words.
to avoid this.
4 little words.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. Man, it's supposedly.
Yeah.
It's you just up the same words all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. If Maddox had written it out, he would have still written supposedly.
Well, for all intensive purposes, Dick.
Yeah. Oh God, Josh is there. Do you want to talk to Null's there? Do you want to talk to Null?
Sure, bring him on if you want.
All right. Null, are you there?
Hi.
Hello. No, you
Now, see, by the way,
motherfucker.
he sounds fine. His audio sounds fine, but
Yeah, your audio is on Discord, but it's whatever. I cranked you up to 200%, so it's fine. It's whatever.
This is horrible.
That's 100 more, isn't it?
This is horrible for me.
Yeah.
Is the YouTube
dying in
audio
real
fine?
time.
Is the YouTube
I'm
audio
dying
fine?
in real time. Yeah.
They said YouTube sounds okay.
Okay.
It's the same. It's getting it from the same source.
No. What is happening? What is happening to us? What is happening to our alliance? We're being torn asunder.
Everyone's going insane because they're all cooped up. I've been practicing for my entire life, so I'm unaffected. But everyone else is horribly degraded by
I really
being
think it
left
is.
inside.
I think that's true. Did you say that Ralph was going to be sacrificed? I didn't watch the stream because for some reason I'm not getting notifications of any of your stuff anymore. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know if that's intentional or if I'm just a retard. Both are equally plausible when it comes to YouTube. But yeah, no, I made a reference to. I've been making a reference to the South Park episode. There's that episode where Britney Spears is basically photographed to death.
Yeah.
Like she tries to blow her brains out, and they bring her back, and they keep photographing her.
Right.
And the joke is that they have to sacrifice her for the harvest. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if we have to sacrifice Ralph for the corn, whatever, that's just going to be it. And then he sends me this really pissy DM, like, you, sir, will be sacrificed long before me. I'm like,
that's exactly true. By the way, first off, he makes this analogy on his show, and then he goes, "I'm not joking. This is not a joke. I'm dead serious. Ralph needs to be sacrificed so I can stop being picked on by my own board every single day, and they can stop calling me a child." Every single day. So he's trying to turn the heat back on me. Then he goes like a woman and leaks the DMs to his Discord because that's the kind of dude he is. I mean, that's Josh for you. I don't know what to say.
very, very eloquent. Being called a child by my own board, so you don't have to accuse me of being a child, but you can throw it out there without eating it.
That, not me,
Josh.
I don't know.
I think that's what a woman does.
Your own people said that, Josh. I didn't say that. Many people are saying that, but I'm not one of them.
Is this for real?
Many weirdos joining from your circles, yes, are repeating.
Is that right? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, you guys are both on the side of hate here.
I didn't know about this. I didn't know about all this
hatred.
child stuff. There is way too much accusations of people being child. There's more accusations of people being child than I think there are people in the world.
Oh, yeah,
If it was, according to the internet.
It seems to be the go-to.
Yeah.
But let me
These
ask, why
days.
did you share the DMs like a woman though?
Oh,
what caused you to do that?
You sent me messages, and I'll just read them verbatim, because whatever. I posted them in my Discord because you sent them to me, and they were funny. That's why I posted them.
By the way, let me say this before you read them. I sent the same exact tweets out in public, except for the part where I said Kiwi Farms was being mocked. That was the only part I left out in the public.
Yes, that's why I posted them.
But let me say this:
I
sent the DMs first, and then I put the tweets out. And it's still womanly to share DMs regardless. That's a bitch thing. Obviously, trying to
some heat.
That's not true. That's not true. I have shared them on occasion when they're called for. When Sargon tried to say I lied about the setup, I shared those DMs. That's a different story. Or if somebody's giving me permission to share, yeah, I have. You can't show another situation otherwise. I saw your Spurgs on Kiwi Farm trying to dig up shit. That's not accurate. So
I hope I wouldn't
said the
share
same thing in public, which is why I posted them, because I thought it was funny that you said it in Twitter, and then you also DM'd them directly to me. That's why it was funny.
I do agree that sharing DMs is a bitch move. Yeah.
Yeah. I
unless you really are pushed to it,
public,
you know,
which is
whatever.
I don't know.
actually, it's not. I just told you there was a difference between the statements.
Okay.
Why did you share them? What's the point in sharing them other than to throw heat off yourself?
I have no heat on myself. The people who are angry are settled down. If they're angry, I'm not feeling it.
Okay, well,
yeah. You realize that board you're talking about is like maybe 5 to 10% of traffic. I could delete it right now, and it wouldn't affect me.
Well, go delete it then.
No. Well, I'm sure you would want to. That would have some positive implications for you.
Not really.
No.
I mean, I made $1,000 last week. I'm doing pretty good. You know.
Why do you always do that? It's so gross. Like whenever people make
I don't
fun
care
of
about
you
your
just go,
approval, Josh. I think sharing lolicon on the internet and making a big stand about spreading child-like materials is pretty gross. So I think you're pretty gross if you want to know the truth about.
I have a mentally handicapped alcoholic slurring child at me on the live stream.
Mentally handicapped.
It covers like a lot of,
That's a lot of issues.
I mean, your whole entire family disowned you. Mine didn't disown me, so I don't
Your family's dead because they drank themselves to death like you have.
Girls,
Yes.
You can't even live in the United States because you're on the run from the federal government.
No, I'm not.
I mean, that's pretty
Produce
cool.
the warrant. I live overseas because
Come
it's
back
cheap.
then. Come back then.
You know what? I thought you guys
Okay,
were just
I
joking
probably
around.
will.
I did not know this
I'll
was
be
going.
to.
I did not know this was going to go.
I think
like
you knew
this.
exactly.
No,
what
I
was
really didn't, Josh. I I love you. I'm just busting balls with Kiwi Farms.
No, I knew that he would be really aggressive because he's like, I'll be on the Dick show tomorrow. Where are you going to be? I'm like, okay, well, I'll show up because that's at a reasonable time.
Ralph, stop interrupting.
Yeah, my whole point is Josh is a punk bitch, and I'll say that in public.
God.
He shares DMs like a whore, and I'll say that in public.
Well,
So, it's whatever.
having recently gone,
I already told him in DMs. I've cut ties with this. I was about to say a certain word. I won't
We don't
say.
have any
say it.
time.
Don't say it.
What are our
Oh,
ties?
you mean the ties where you basically built your stream off my stream? When you can't even talk with your same little vocal fry, you sound like it's probably because you were molested as a child. That's that's what they said on the Onision stream. When you talk like that, it's because you got as a child. I think there might be something to that, but I don't know. People smarter than me will have to
That's
examine
an
it. I'm not
interesting
sure.
theory. I assure you, I am very.
well,
good.
No, please don't.
I remain.
Please don't
If
share
anything
any,
happens, it's not your fault.
Please don't share any DMs from me.
It's just, it's such a weird thing to go to. It's like, you children, also you're a child, also you were, because you sound weird.
And you're a false flagger.
Okay.
You're a false flagger. You've been flagging.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Everybody's
I'm
flagging.
so sick of that. The false flagging accusations have
It's
got
no more
to fucking
preposterous
stop.
than the charges that are thrown out at me on your site every single day, to be quite honest with you. So,
Like what?
He's
I don't
drunk.
think anyone's called you a child, Ralph.
not that one, no, but the false flagging. They said I used my crippled brother to get a house yesterday. I saw that. Just fake shit every
I mean, yeah,
single
they
day.
do. There's a couple of A-logs on there who are trying to prove, I don't know why, that my girlfriend is a cam whore based on shit they have invented.
Oh.
Like they go through and find random people and say that it's her. It's really baffling.
Isn't
There are a
Ralph's
lot
new
of
girlfriend a
conspiracy
cam whore?
theories going on.
What, Josh? Or what, Noel?
Isn't Ralph's new girlfriend a cam whore? from D-Live?
No, actually, my girlfriend's the managing editor of my website now. I know you're not
That
going to
was a
talk
hard
about
position
women,
to get.
Josh, since you said you can't even derive sexual pleasure from intercourse or anything else, and you watch so much stuff in your life that you can't even get off to a woman's touch. I mean, those are things you said in public, so I really wouldn't go down the women hill.
I've never said
hill
anything
there.
about watching stuff, but okay.
It is
Oh, but
difficult
the rest
to
of
take a
it's all
woman's
true,
touch. I'll
right.
give you that.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about my personal life because I'm not a moron.
But you wanted to bring mine up, yeah? Okay.
because
All
you,
this is because you got
don't
excoriated by Fraudwinson and Ashley, and you're sad about it, and you're sad that you've been getting made fun of by your own board. You try to turn it back on me, and that's fine. I mean, that's the kind of thing you are.
Sex with Miss
I'm
Elizabeth.
not, it's not gonna work.
guys, was
Take
there
it to
anything?
the cage,
is there
gentlemen.
anything we can do to bring to some togetherness? I understand.
Cage
No,
match.
you've done enough.
Oh, I thought I didn't know that there was so much animosity. I
there wasn't until like 2 days ago because I said I was going to turn Ralph into corn by sacrificing him to the gods.
there is. No, you have to admit
By the way,
there
I
is.
have the clip. That's not what he said. I have the clip. He's
Okay.
trying to minimize what he said.
He did
He's
not
The
say
only
that he
thing
would
we
turn
do
you
with
into
corn
corn.
around here is turn it into whiskey. I mean, what did I say, Ralph?
gonna wish
I
you in the
literally said
cornfield.
that we would sacrifice you to the gods to turn you into corn.
That seems reasonable
There's
to
the
me.
Where did he go?
Yeah.
Oh, here's the clip.
I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that wasn't
Here,
serious.
I'll play it if you post the clip in the chat.
I sent it. Oh, I sent it in DMs. I'll put it
Okay,
in general,
I
too.
can play it from there. Ralph. Okay, here you go.
This
It's
was
just the audio.
Ralph says 1,000 viewers all week and 2K, almost 1,500 viewer streams. But there's a ton of momentum against me? ? Not seeing it, TBH. PPP and Godwinson failed. Kiwi Farms is openly being mocked, etc. But we shall see.
What makes me laugh is right now on YouTube.
Is that
our
it?
Small.
Ralph, was that it?
I don't know if he sent the right clip.
Yeah, I don't think so.
there's furious typing.
There's a lot of typing going on.
Oh, sorry, I'm playing Space Station 13.
Oh. Did Ralph? Is he still there?
We have no Ralph.
I think he dropped out. He might have muted himself.
He might have muted himself. Yeah.
Oh, I'm still here. Yeah,
There you
I had
go.
myself muted.
I don't
I
think
sent
he's-
the wrong clip. I
Yeah.
put it in the chat.
Okay, here. I'll try it again.
This is such a good anniversary episode.
Everybody's mad at everything.
Oh, happy anniversary. I didn't
Thank
even
you.
know.
Thank you. When is the Kiwi Farms anniversary?
Completely wrong, I guess.
Oh, wait, here we go.
Alright,
Here we
it
go.
is-
Here we go. Okay. I don't know why it's not playing.
Yes.
Ralph? But
There it is.
There it is.
PPP won on gaining more fans, I guess. I mean, okay, I don't dislike Ralph, but I'm at a place, and I'm not being ironic, where I think it may be time to sacrifice Ralph to the corn. We have to sacrifice Ralph, Ethan Ralph, to the gods, so that the corn will be a bountiful harvest this year. Because I think he has so much bad blood with all these people who hate him that it may be the only solution. We have to sacrifice Ethan Ralph for the harvest.
Josh!
I think it's. I couldn't hear it. What did I say? I don't know.
Now we have to sacrifice him for the
mocked my
harvest.
predictions. I did go all in predicting that Jim would bail out a new project too, which is Dick Masterson's Patreon alternative, and I was completely wrong, I guess. So he's going to hold me to that. He's going to say that
You were
Josh's
wrong
predictions
about
are
New
bad.
Project 2 and Medicare, yeah.
He's been wrong about everything.
All right. That's
Flat
enough
out.
of that.
It's a long clip.
Well, gosh, guys, I thought you were just kind of kidding around. I can see that's not the case, though.
Well, I don't have anything against him. And what usually happens is that Ralph gets mad at me for something, and then I just kind of ignore it, and then he comes around like after a little while.
Yeah. Ralph, do you think there's a chance of that happening?
I don't see it happening, Dick. I
No.
really don't. We'll see. Maybe if he apologizes for being treacherous and sharing DMs. But
What are we gonna have to do to get you two in a relationship?
Josh, would you apologize for being treacherous for any treachery that you've done?
Well, I do feel bad for sharing DMs. It's not something I
Well, there
usually
you
do.
go.
I
Alright.
woke up out of my Space Station 13 Super, and I saw
Yeah.
my DMs. And I'm like, that is silly. So I posted them because it was funny.
Yeah.
And I guess that was a grave mistake on my part.
Well, you know goddamn well how that usually goes. Sharing DMs.
So look, so
mean-
that's a little admission. That's
Yeah.
like if you had a cup of coffee and to do over, you probably wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah,
I
right.
mean,
Only because I just don't like to share DMs.
you don't like the
I
precedent.
You don't like the precedent.
Yeah.
Well, because you can't speak privately if you're just worried about everybody sharing your DMs at all time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I take it a little bit more serious because, with writing and the shows and stuff, I have to have some type of trust with people that I talk to offline anyway, or online.
With me, it's more like I need the users on my site to have kind of a sort of absolute confidence in me, because if they can't trust me to like handle their shit, then I'm just right. Nobody will give me their credit card details to buy T-shirts and shit with if they don't trust me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was more just bemused about the whole thing until I saw that you shared the DMs, and then I was like, "What is this guy?" I didn't think that part was funny.
Oh, they're fine.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, the corn and stuff. I do think you kind of minimized because if you listen to the clip, you
We
straight out
did.
say, "I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Actually, I think this is what's gonna
It
happen."
does say you need to be
you come on the show
sacrificed.
and say, "I was just
I mean-
joking," but if you listen to the clip, you explicitly say, "I'm not joking."
I mean,
Then-
there is a lot
I
of mindless
literally-
Ralph
in the-
hate on Kiwi Farms. Like, there is a
I
lot of false
literally, in
flagging
the literal
shit.
definition of literal, want to sacrifice Ralph in a cornfield to appease the gods.
Now you want to know how I took it when I heard it. I heard it as basically Dick should disown Ralph. All these people should disown Ralph so we can just get back to being gay on Kiwi Farms together. I mean that's how I read it. Like everybody needs to distance themselves from Ralph just so I won't have problems on Kiwi Farms. Like that's how,
no,
that's how I read it.
my point was that I just see a lot of animosity growing disproportionately to positivity in regards to the show.
We didn't play the whole clip, but it sounded to me he was being sarcastic. I don't think
Little
he
bit.
truly wants to sacrifice you in any way.
Well, I know he didn't want to kill me.
I know he doesn't
Vito.
want
I
to kill
didn't
you,
mean
but
like that.
but even
That's
so,
fine,
I
right?
don't think he wants to destroy you either. You know.
Well, I didn't think he was even saying that he wanted to destroy me. I think what he was
He wants
saying
to
is,
let it happen.
Ralph's kind of an albatross. I mean, that's kind of how I took it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It was the DMs that kind of pissed me off.
And that I think is
because-
fair, and I hope Josh will
Let's just
find a
keep
way to
things-
make it right. 'cause
Okay,
you shouldn't be leaking
wait,
those
wait,
DMs.
back up. I appreciate all the good feelings and I like the positivity going on here, but Ralph kind of called me a child, like 30 seconds ago.
You know what?
That's
You said a
fair
lot of
game.
things about my family and all that too.
That's all inbounds.
I never accused you of being a child. I mean, you
I
can make
said
whatever.
other people. Okay, actually,
Didn't you say his whole
technically, they
family
didn't call you a
drunk
child
themselves into a
molester. They
grave?
said that you had spread pedo. Yeah, that
That's
you had
also
spread
bad.
child pornography. I don't know.
Ralph, would you apologize for the implication of
If he gives a real apology, then I will give a real apology as well.
That's not how apologies work. You can't. Now you're being a woman.
Can't hold it hostage.
No, you have to give it from your heart. You have to.
Well,
from
as
your...
far as I know, I don't know of him any children, so I will apologize for bringing that up.
That is the worst non-apology.
I have no concrete proof. However, very good.
All right, boys.
That's an apology,
I
right?
honestly,
I
I
have
don't
not
think he
witnessed.
molested children. Is that what you want me to say? I mean, I don't know. Like,
I will admit I do not know the names of the children. And that is as much as I am willing to
You
say.
know, we were all gonna be hanging out and partying if it wasn't for this goddamn virus.
Yeah.
All three of us. Noel's coming
dude.
in. We were all gonna have a good time together.
Right,
Not
a hell of a
be
corn
leaking-
harvest.
Leak out. We were all gonna harvest corn together and pal around, and now we're accusing each other of being child.
This virus
And our
is-
Noel and I have had a crazy. I remember being in Knoxville and talking to
Oh.
Noel for about an hour and a half and trying to get Streamy to let him keep him on the air. And there's been so much
Oh.
shit going. That seems like a million years ago, but that was just a year and a half ago. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's been crazy.
Well,
I'm willing to let it go. I was just
Okay.
mostly miffed about the DMs.
I would be
so-
miffed about that too. I will never share your guys' DMs. I promise.
Especially since, I mean, look, you've been on the show so many times. I don't know. It just felt a little like, I know you say we don't have any ties. No, we don't have official ties, but it just felt like, wow.
Little
you know,
betrayal.
call it
Not
what
gay
we're doing.
married.
Yeah, it's like, all right. So that was my issue.
All right, Ralph. What is there anything making you rage besides child molesters that you want to get off your chest?
You know what makes me oh wow, I knew I was coming on here.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm glad he asked you first.
Oh no, because I didn't have one ready. What makes me rage? You know what makes me rage? I've been having to wear this mask. I know, Dick, you probably don't even wear the mask when you go out. But it's so hot fucking the mask,
so
and I have
hot.
to keep taking it off multiple times while I'm out. Then if it's humid outside, just forget it. And it's just driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Sweat builds up, and if you have a beard too, it's like little beadlets of sweat. I was noticing that
Fucking
earlier. I had to
growing
go
mushrooms
to
in
the
his
Verizon
beard.
store. Oh, and I really didn't. Usually I don't have to wear a mask, so I guess that would be my little impromptu mini rage.
It
there would be the
stinks. Like it has
sweat and the
this
heat.
weird mix of flesh
Yeah.
and plastic It smells like formaldehyde. Like it's not my breath. It's something gross and chemical.
Yeah.
I tear it off when I get in my if I do have to go to the store because they won't let you in now. They got multiple security guards with rifles in LA to pick you off if you're not wearing
They
one.
shoot masks on your
Plus,
face.
mine is a woman's from Japan. So we got our masks when we went to Japan, coincidentally, because we were sick. I think we had it then, but that's why we have these masks. So mine is made for a Japanese woman. So it's very
really
tiny,
small.
and it still covers my face because of my tiny face. So
Yeah.
I'm going around looking like I have a little Band-Aid in the middle of my mouth and that there's nothing going on. But I do like that you can walk around with your mouth hanging open under there, like a mouth breather. And you have to because you can't breathe in them. But that's about it. All right, Ralph, get out of here. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, also, toilet seat says hello, Sean. They wanted me to say that. I don't know what that is all about, but
me either.
I'll
Toilet
say that.
seat says
Thank you guys.
Ralph,
I
thank you
appreciate it. Y'all have a
thank
good
you
one.
for providing a platform.
You got
Thank you for
me.
doing
Yeah, I was
everything
gonna say,
that you do.
We had the happy ending, and we had hot fire spitting at each other as
Yeah.
well. So you got best of both worlds. There,
Thank you
Dick.
for keeping the kill stream going despite all the hardships that you've endured. I love it.
Well, thank you. Hopefully, we don't get sacrificed anytime soon, but you never know. You guys have a good one.
Yeah. No, I think you're a champion of free speech, right? And that you provide one of the most necessary services in our culture right now. Is that that,
Thank
Ryan?
you, thank you.
I'm
I appreciate that, but you need to stop. You need to learn a lesson. You need to stop arguing with people because it's a bad look. I've learned in my time that the back and forth and pedantism is a bad look.
Arguing?
Just a warning.
Who did Dick
Yeah,
argue with that you think?
Screen
I'm arguing
capping
with Kiwi
Okay,
Farms.
this is what Dick has been
okay.
doing. This is how he spends his quarantine. He takes screen caps of posts on the forum and then
Yeah.
takes it to Twitter and then responds on that. And then someone on the forum takes a screen cap of his tweet
That's funny.
and posts it on the
funny.
forum. And this
Well, do you not think that there is too many Kiwis who actually unironically think they are the internet hate machine? I think there's a little too much I studied the blade going on in that on some of those threads.
there's a lot of
Anything
people
about anybody
who
on No
take
Kiwi
themselves
Farms, I tell you
too
what.
seriously.
Yeah, a little bit. I love the site. I love I love when they document things. I love when they watch from afar. But I think there's some attention whores on there who are not funny.
And the
I
only
am an
way to
attention
counter
whore who
that
is
to-
funny.
What? Sorry, Josh. What?
And the only way to counter that is to take screen caps of all their posts so that they are emboldened in their efforts at every step.
What business are you in? I'm in the attention business.
Yeah, isn't he providing them with entertainment? Isn't he
boy.
benefiting these people?
Here's the thing,
They should
like when
celebrate what
I've
he's
done this
doing.
before, where I've told like locals, like, look, you are getting
Excuse
told
me?
the fuck right.
Uh-oh.
Listen, let me finish. And I would sit there and I would tell them, okay, you are doing this, and if you want to stop getting trolled, you should stop doing this. And I've always maintained, despite protests from other people, I shouldn't warn them or help them at all, that a true locale will ignore advice, even when it's given to them, even when it's good advice.
Yeah.
So I stand here today as an innocent person giving you good advice, and whatever happens after that
Take it or
is
leave
up
it.
to the
Innocent. I
gods.
heard you were a child.
certain people said that certain people said, so therefore
Look, I appreciate the advice. I think that a lot of people need to lighten up and realize that a lot of this is in good fun, and that if I didn't have a Patreon, I wouldn't even have a Twitter.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. It is the idea that Kiwis cannot be mocked is a little too prissy for me to subscribe to.
You can just join the forum.
So they're offended that I'm not using their site to do it.
It's complicated, and I don't feel like explaining it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe one day I'll explain it.
What makes you rage?
Oh, okay. This is kind of boring and technical, but it's very present in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
My lease, the family that lives where I'm living right now in Serbia, wants their place back by the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
The European Commission or committee or whatever has passed this policy that most countries in the EU have adopted, that they're going to reopen their borders to tourism on the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to try to Zerg rush the European border and get in a week early. And if I am not let in, I'm completely f***ed. So all the different countries opening and closing and shit at different times is really, really, really f***ing me over. Because if that doesn't work, I might have to take a flight to Luxembourg, which is already open, and get a hotel there for a week so I can fly into a different country. That is the situation of
like a man of mystery.
Right now. So just be glad that you're just trying to get out of your house, because if you're trying to cross borders, you're completely and totally.
I'm trying to get I'm trying to get out of this state. I think that the governor of California and the Mayor Garcetti are holding LA specifically hostage to get bailout money, because the state is in like $2 trillion, maybe $3 trillion of debt. Like all the pensions are at risk.
It's at risk of defaulting and shit.
Yeah, I think they are trying to instigate a crisis, which LA riots when we win world championships. We love riot. Okay, LA.
Yeah, Shaq bought the cops like new cop cars because the Lakers won, and then
our athletes get punished when we win championships.
Yeah.
It is a city that is ready to erupt at any moment. Because it's just full of pure evil. So I think they're trying to. I think they are every type of evil too, institutionalized, homeless, criminal, every element of evil. I think they are trying to instigate a crisis to get the National Guard involved or to get federal money in some kind of way. I got to get the fuck out of here.
Okay. I have two follow-up questions that you've thrown on. Number one, real quick. What state would you move to? Would it be Texas?
I don't know.
Montana. Go to
Montana. That's what everyone says.
Beautiful. Nobody gives a shit what's going on up there.
Actually,
no people,
Montana is kind of iffy because they put all the nuclear silos there. So in a world war with nukes, Montana gets nuked the f out immediately.
Actually, probably Utah because of the no bigamy laws. So is that still?
Oh, you want multiple wives?
What was your next question?
Did you get a nose job? Speaking of LA evil,
no,
I'm curious.
If I got a nose job, I need my money back. Is that the new?
Are people speculating?
Is that the rumor on the farms?
Yeah, there's pictures of your yearbook photo, and your nose is very different in them.
Well, you're not done growing, too.
I saw the guys on the farms were ripping on me for being Ace Ventura on Halloween in high school. It was the middle of the 90s. Every single kid in America wanted to be Ace Ventura.
Movie.
No, I did not get a nose job. I have had skull, like my upper jaw was moved. I had orthodontic corrective surgery where my upper jaw was moved forward a couple years ago, and my face changed a little bit.
Yeah, like subtly, like noticeably, but subtly.
Yeah, but no cosmetic surgery.
Did you have like apnea or something? Sleep apnea?
I think I
know
still
someone
have
who had to get their jaw
apnea.
Huh.
Oh, really?
This was because my lower jaw had continued growing, like macromastia, but for your face. So my teeth were all pointing backwards, and I was grinding them one by one until they were dying.
It brings everything back to tits.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
It's an elaborate excuse for your nose job, Dick.
Thank
Come
you
on.
for calling in. Thank you for calling in.
No problem.
I hope to
Take it
see
easy.
you soon. Take it
See
easy.
ya.
Bye.
Oh,
Good
God.
luck. Good luck. Wow. You know, I had stuff that made me rage that I brought in I didn't even get to.
Too much hilarity going on.
I didn't know those guys would attack each other.
Me neither. Look what you did.
Yeah, wow, that was really intense. Ralph was very upset.
Lol cow. They've changed the definition.
Oh, to include you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you change the word gender to mean whatever you want. Now they've changed it to mean just person that I hate. Here's
it's kind of like Spartacus, like at the end, or who was it? Spartacus, he couldn't control his army anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like they were just like straight bloodthirsty. They're like, no, we're gonna keep fighting.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
I just don't like those guys fighting because I think they're both, heroic individuals
Yeah, well,
with flaws, alcoholism, and incorrectness. I'm just gonna run with it.
Okay, it is working. I think we're live. Can you hear
Are
us,
we
chat?
live?
Can you hear PPP? I do see PPP in the live audio. Say something to make sure that the audio levels are correct.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live here with Joshua Connor Moon, the creator, owner, and sole proprietor of the Kiwi Farms.
Thank you. That's a better introduction than I do for myself. The editor-in-chief of the Kiwi
The
Farms.
editor-in-chief of the Ralph Fritz. You might be soon. Maybe Boss Dax will promote you to editor-in-chief of the Ralph Retort. You never know. You might be soon. Maybe Boss Dax will promote you to editor. You never know. You might.
Okay, sorry, I was listening to replay. So you wanted to talk about new project 2?
I think that's the main issue of concern for everybody at this point. Just for me, and I think that there are other people like me that are concerned about this, that do think that there might be something going on with the new project 2. Like, you'd agree with me. It's not just me. Like, I'm not totally schizophrenic. There are at least like maybe a dozen people other than me who believe in this shit. Yeah, you would think.
Well, yeah. No, that's the fascinating thing about it. Because if it was just like a clever troll, then it wouldn't have had so many people kind of carry the torch for it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's just total blatant nonsense, like for instance, like when I say Dax Herrera's bank is a triad bank yesterday, I mean that's just total nonsense. It's not a triad bank. Everybody knows that, and that's why it's not libel, because on the face of it, it's ridiculous. Like Jerry Falwell having sex with his mother in the outhouse, it's just totally outrageous. But there are some elements to this that seem somewhat legitimate to some people. And so I'm glad that you've agreed to answer some of those questions that, I have and other people have, so that we can kind of clear things up on this and hopefully move on, at least from fucking the Kiwi Farms being under submission of being subverted by a half Mexican, half Jew in the Barbie Dream Mansion. I mean, the main thing, right, is just your behavior. Now, you say it's been completely consistent, I think, with how your forum's been run in the past.
Yes.
I can't really speak to that because I haven't been a user of your site for any length of time. I've never been a poster. I've briefly looked at it over the years, but it's not something I would go to every day. So for me, it's not like I can say to you, oh, this isn't in the normal operating procedure of the site. All I can say is that like my impression of the site, and I think what most people have the idea, the legend of Kiwi Farms, is a site where it's totally free speech. It's pretty much almost a free-for-all. You know what I mean? There's very little editorial control. You can pretty much post what you want, even if it does border sometimes on being rumor or hearsay or conjecture. I mean, would you agree that that's kind of an accurate assessment of what the site is, or how would you kind of define it? Because that's what I think it is.
So part of the problem is that a lot of people who, as you pointed out, don't use the site believe that there is some sort of foul play, specifically because they see things that seem odd to them because they've not used the site. When there are special circumstances, then moderators have stepped in pretty consistently in the past to try and keep things on top. The big thing is that you kept calling the trash fire thread a containment thread, and that's pretty typical with how we handle events. I actually had to make the trash fire thread for IBS way back when, because there would be all these crossover events that didn't adequately fit into one person's thread. So it's like, let's make when this stuff happens, we'll make a crossover event thread. And that's what that is. When I locked the dick thread because of all the brigading and intrusion in it, I didn't actually have a plan on what to do. And you very specifically said that the trash fire thread that was created was something made at my instruction to take heat specifically off the dick thread. I actually didn't have that in mind when I locked the thread. I was going to wait a couple days before deciding what to do, but someone took the initiative to make that thread, and I decided that was a good idea.
So when I say these things, right, it's not to say 100% this is why Josh has made these actions. It's how it appears to me, right? Because, like, right away, so the first thing is, right, you have a new Project 2 account, which you make, I think, $1,800 and something a month on from Dax. And
between 12 and 14, because about a third of things bounce. Because on Patreon, if a card bounces, they're automatically unpledged, and that pledge doesn't count towards the total. That's not a feature on New Project 2. So people who pledge with a gift card or whatever, and that gift card gets depleted, it doesn't actually remove that from the pledge moving forward.
Do you know why that's not a feature?
It took a while. It actually took a long time for Patreon to add that. It took several years for Patreon to get around to doing that.
It's just because if it's supposed to be the true alternative, right? And Dax Herrera is supposed to be, like, he says that he knows how to code. Like, he's a coding wizard who's been around since 1997. He built the site himself. And if you wanted to make it a legitimate competitor to Patreon, you would think it would have that functionality, right?
Yeah,
I don't
eventually
know.
It would be a good idea.
I mean, because you're pretty tight to it. Have, like, you ever decided that you were going to go at it, or asked him, hey, can I help you add this? Because you probably could, no?
I did offer to do work for the site when it was brand new, but he said no. And I'm pretty sure he said no just to avoid that kind of financial entanglement. As it stands, he has never actually given me any of his own money.
Well, this is when you mention financial entanglement, it brings to mind, I don't know if you saw the clip I played on my show yesterday, and that's on Leo Pirate's channel, where you say, in some ways, my success is tied to Dick's success.
Yeah,
and
I
that
saw that.
quote,
it made me laugh
that quote,
because someone had to pull up my Life is Strange streams to find that quote, which I hope they enjoyed.
I know. I know. Well, that's why it didn't come up till now, because, you know, all the autists have been digging through trying to find it. They found it, and for them and for me, that suggests that there's a certain degree to which you are dependent on Dick Masterson for your livelihood, for your income. Your success is tied to his success. And when I say, like, for instance, if my success is tied to my grandfather's success in preaching, right, I'm going to defend him to the end to make sure that my success perpetuates through his success. And so for me, when you say your success is tied to his success, it would imply to me that your behavior then would be to defend him from any and all kind of attacks. You see where I'm coming from with that?
Well, that's implying implications. When I say my success is tied to his success, I very specifically meant in the case of New Project 2. If New Project 2 succeeds, which I hope it does, then it will be a stable platform for me to continue to collect donations from supporters.
But New Project 2 runs through Dick Masterson or Dax Herrera's bank account. It's been coded by him. It's highly tied to the public perception of Dax.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like, so like all the banks dumped him because of potential associate. Not to say it was you or anybody in particular, but because of associations, right, that made him look bad. And so if he looks bad, the site suffers. Do you know what I mean?
Well, when the perceptions that he has to be wary of are things that would get him on the Anti-Defamations League hate watch, because those are the things that get bankers involved, is hate speech. I would be very disappointed in him if he made the move to let someone on like Richard Spencer, who is definitely on a lot of hate lists, you know.
He said that he wouldn't let, for instance, Milo on, right?
Really? Milo?
Yeah.
Is that because he's Jewish?
I don't know. I mean, Dick himself, I guess, is half Jewish, so I imagine it wouldn't be for that reason.
Is that true?
This is what I've heard. I've heard that he's half Mexican,
I think
half
people just
Jewish.
call him Jewish to fuck with him. Like when they call me Jewish, that's not because I'm actually Jewish.
It's just your behavior is Jewish.
I just have cold hands. You don't have to hate.
So this is the other problem, too, with the website, right? Not to detract from kind of where we're going with you being tied in with his success, but it's not really a true alternative because Milo Yiannopoulos, who, you know, at one time was such a big figure and so renowned that Ethan Ralph used to call him Master Milo. You know, people used to really love and respect Milo. He was the biggest conservative star in the world for like a year straight. And he's been deplatformed from everything because of comments that he made that I don't approve of, but that seem to be offhand comments. And, you know, he's like the biggest victim of censorship there is. So you'd figure he'd be allowed on New Project 2 if it was really about protecting free speech and offering an alternative, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know specifically who he says is not and is not allowed. And if he, like, I heard that he said he wouldn't let Coach on, which sounded a bit weird to me, because why not?
I'll tell you about that one. Like, Coach, apparently, he says he did a stream called How Blackmail's Done and How It Works, which of course he would know, being Coach. But, you know, it was about New Project 2 being a scam and this and that. And he said that Dick had sent him the forms and everything to apply for one, but that he never did it. So I think Coach is allowed because of the relationship they had in Knoxville.
That's just stupid. Since you brought that up, actually, you know, I think Jim already covered this, but with those IRS forms, like, it's standard, and the argument that the, you know, companies are too expensive to form. I have like 4 because it's like $50 a year in Wyoming. It's very inexpensive to get a LLC up. It's free to get an EID from the IRS, and then you can just use that EID in place of an SSN, you know, and you get like a registered agent and a mailing address. And it's cheap. Yeah. It's $50 a year.
There's nothing per se wrong with Dick Masterson filing a 1099 form, right? I mean, everybody has to do it legally to comply with the law. The whole point about the 1099 form was just that there was a debate going on between me and you in the chat about whether or not Dax had access to your social security number, right? Mm-hmm. So because he has to file a 1099, he has to have access to your social security number.
Incorrect. He has to have access to your social security number if you are filing a 1099 as a individual. If you're filing as a corporation, you get an EID instead of the SSN.
Okay. But at the end of the day, he still has access to your personal information.
He has access to my phone number, my business address, which is on the site, and he has access to my EID. None of that.
But once again, right, we have to look at the fact that an LLC is something that not everybody is going to set up. I mean, Rekieta admitted that he didn't set up an LLC, even though he's a lawyer. It's an individual filing, and he received the 1099 from New Project 2. So, like, when even Rekieta, who's a lawyer, isn't doing it that way, I just wonder if the average user of the site would take time to form an LLC.
Then he's stupid.
I think you'd be stupid to sign up for New Project 2 in the first place.
Well, then you could say the same about anything. Like, he makes tons of money off super chats. Does he not have he should be using the same EID he uses for that and for his new project. If he's collecting those super chats on his SSN and not the EID, then that's stupid. He needs to get a tax attorney to get an LLC for that shit, because that's personal income, not corporate income.
So, I think that people are kind of familiar with how, like, if they're not, you want to give them kind of a synopsis, because I think you know how it runs better than I, because he uses the third-party payment processor, right? So,
yes. I mean, it's not an option. It costs like $1 million of investment to become a payment processor yourself.
Yeah. So in your understanding, right, what access, like what info would be put into New Project 2 that they would have access to?
When you check out through New Project 2, and you can just like forge, pretend to do like a subscription to test this out, it takes you to a Visa or MasterCard payment gateway, which is entirely on a third-party service. So when you enter in that information, it doesn't ever touch New Project 2 at all. It never touches the server. What happens is you fill out the information directly on the authorized.net payment gateway, and that goes to the payment processor. And the payment processor automatically triggers an API call with a token, and that token represents that transaction.
Okay. So you're saying that if you're just making a donation on New Project 2, Dax isn't going to have access to your info as a donator.
It will have the email address that you used to sign up with, and it will have the token. Yes, that's it.
Okay. It's just hard for me to believe, though, that when you enter information into the New Project 2 site, because like when in the
you're not entering it into the New Project 2 site,
yeah.
You're entering it into the authorized.net gateway payment protocol.
Okay, into the authorized.net gateway. It's just for me, like when you look at the privacy policy, right? It says that they can keep any information on you for administrative reasons, for security reasons, for legal reasons. So I just think any information that New Project 2 receives is kept on file basically forever, according to their own privacy policy, right? And so I think the concern isn't even more so with the individual users donating, because there's really no motivation to really with them. The concern is more so on the creator end of things, with the information that you guys have provided to him that might give him leverage over you. Do you want to comment a little on the privacy policy of New Project 2? Because it's half written. 7 of the fields are blank.
I think it's like a stock privacy policy. You should probably pay an attorney to flesh that out to accurately reflect what's being stored. Like with 9chan, I kind of fleshed. I wrote it myself. I'm sure it's shit. I'm sure it's not legally applicable at all. I'm sure if I tried to use that in court, someone would laugh it out. But I tried to at least represent to the best of my ability what kind of information gets stored. Right.
It's
the same thing with Nick. I would say if you're legitimately using your SSN to collect income from New Project 2 and Super Chats, for God's sakes, get a company. What are you doing? With Dick, it's hire an attorney to get this legitimized.
Right. So you would say that based on the privacy policy, the website's legitimacy is a little bit in doubt because it's half filled out and it's just a stock privacy policy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good from if you're someone who's really interested in that kind of detail. I mean, nobody usually reads those things, which I'm sure is why it didn't get fleshed out.
Well, exactly. I was just so surprised because, I mean, this is part of the reason why I started to take it a bit more seriously was the moment Leo went to the privacy policy and went, hey guys, 7 of the fields here are blank. What the fuck? I go, no, that can't be true. Sends it to me. Sure enough, 7 of the fields on how your information is stored, how we protect your privacy. How we protect your privacy is blank. That's the worst field to leave blank. That's the only field we really need to know. Oh, really? In the privacy policy, how do you protect it? And then when you hear that your data can be stored forever, you go, well, this is kind of weird, just the other issue with the site itself. Now, again, I'm no computer expert. I kind of default to you as the wizard. So, it's a WordPress site. How secure really is it as a WordPress site?
Pretty secure. And it's like a meme to use WordPress for shit. But WordPress at one point powered half the internet. Half of all public-facing websites use WordPress. So it's one of the most widely distributed, used, and penetration-tested applications. And it does have a history of security vulnerabilities, but I'm pretty sure that he uses a third-party service to manage that, and they have their own line of security patches and stuff for their versioning.
Because I just don't know. When I look at the website, it looks really unprofessional. It looks like something that...
It uses the default, I think the 2019 is what it's called, the 2019 WordPress theme with some edits. Yeah.
Because even I feel like with Wix or something, I could whip up a site that looks like that inside a day.
Yeah, it wouldn't have the custom functionality or whatever, but that's basically what it is.
And so it's just shit, this is supposed to be the alternative to Patreon. This is supposed to be, our big tech alternative. But the site's been up for 2 years now? Hasn't it? And it still looks like that? I'm not sure how long it's been up. I know it's been up longer than a year at least, though. Now.
I mean, the issue with that is in order for him to flesh it out more, he would have to hire a team, and that would be a lot of money. And the site doesn't make that much money. It has a volunteer basis for paying fees and stuff. And mine's 3%, so you're talking $45 a month is what he gets from me.
I understand that it would cost money in this, but in my conversation with Dax, he told me he fucks his girlfriend on piles of money in the Barbie dream mansion.
People who have a lot of money tend not to spend it. That is what I've learned dealing with people who are wealthy.
It's just interesting to me if this is such a passion project for freedom of speech and for dissident voices and politics, that we wouldn't have put just a little bit more effort into this thing to make it look like a professional operation and to fill out the privacy policy. And like, I understand that there are apparently vulnerabilities on the site where like just going through like, I don't know if this is the correct term, but like just like the Google Cache or whatever, you can get behind the paywall. Like it's very easy to get behind the paywall of this site. Have you...
I think the only person who uses that is Dick. So if it would be up to him to fix it. I can imagine, like, yeah, I think you can bypass the RSS feed or something, but
yeah. Like, I hate to use Voldemort's name, so I won't. But like he was saying, like
he wasn't the one that found it, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's a thing where you can bypass the login requirement for the RSS feed, and I'm pretty sure that's intentional because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get RSS updates from the blog. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's up to Dick because nobody else uses paywalls on that site. He's the only one that has paywalled content.
It's just like if we're supposed to be the alternative to Patreon, like you need to be able to offer a secure paywall for creators, right? It doesn't make sense to me.
For who, though? For Pod Awful? We got to get Jesse up in there with his paywall content. we really got to fight for that.
I don't agree with these things in the first place, right? I'm not really a big fan of monetized content on the internet, but that's a separate issue. I mean, the main thing is, like, if this is supposed to be, right, an alternative to Patreon, if it's supposed to be the free speech alternative, and to take the market away from Patreon, I would expect it to be a better developed site, better aesthetically looking. I would expect the privacy policy to be put together. I would expect credit card functionality to work, where shit just doesn't just bounce and stay on. You know, I would expect that you wouldn't be able to circumvent paywalls. And I would expect that it wouldn't be a WordPress site, which you've said has some vulnerabilities. You know, I don't know if it's more so than others. But you know where I'm coming from, where on initial glance you go, this doesn't seem like what it looks like, you know?
What it is, and I can tell you in the technical term, it's called a minimum viable product. That is something that you get up so that you can put it out there and people can use it. And then based off the success of the minimum viable product, you can reinvest money into building it into something that's more than minimum. If New Project 2 continued to be successful, he could afford to take the revenue of the project and reinvest that into building it back up.
I understand that. It just seems like to me, like, even at law, like, I understand it being in this condition at large. It's like people are losing out on money. They might be homeless. People are important. We need to protect them. So I'm going to put up this site in a sorry ass shitty condition, but it's going to work. And you know, people are going to get their money. I get it. The issue is that, like, 2 years on, 3 years on, it's still looking like this. The privacy policy not being filled out, functionality being missing. These things lead me to believe that this isn't a true serious alternative to Patreon. And we already have, like, I can't really speak to the total veracity of this, but there's like Ko-Fi, there's Gumroad, isn't there?
I don't know about Gumroad. I've contacted the Subscribestar people, and I said, like, look, this is who I am. What are my options with Subscribestar? And I just thought I'd throw it up there as like an alternative. If you want to use Subscribestar instead, like, it won't hurt my feelings, right? So they said that they'd bring it up in their weekly Friday, like, board meeting about onboarding. They have to, like, bring it before the council to decide.
Oh, fuck.
I thought that was funny, but I don't.
We have the known domestic terrorist, the international fugitive, Joshua Moon, tries to convince the council to allow him to make $100 a month. You know.
Yeah, but that's why I'm not complaining too loudly. You know, like, if there is any kind of argument for being biased, like my opinion of things like the privacy policy and looking, you know, like a default WordPress theme is probably extremely tapered by the fact that it works. It works.
It works.
Yeah,
it works for you, right? So, but this is the other thing, is like where I'm getting at with this is that, to me, I started to look to me like when I looked at the website and I said to myself, this doesn't look like a true alternative. What is it then? is it a way for Dax to control other creators, to control what's being talked about him online?
I think it's just more that it's a place for him to help people that he likes. And maybe that sounds like really nepotistic, like, oh, it's for people he likes. But yeah, I mean,
think
that's all you can do.
You're right.
That's all you can do.
It's for people that he likes. And my issue is,
for instance, here's a good allegory in my field.
Right.
I have 1776 hosting. It's a default WHMCS theme. It's a default
base name.
Really, yeah. It's just like, it's very basic. It has 2 announcements a year apart. It has, rudimentary services. It's not an excellent hosting platform. It just isn't. The real service is that when a person complains to Cloudflare and that complaint is forwarded to the owner of the IP address, it comes to me. That is the entire product.
Right.
So the people who tend to buy it are people who don't value price because my shit's expensive, who don't want the most convenient interface possible because it looks like shit, people who don't particularly care about space requirements because all my stuff's SSD and there's no expansion options, people who don't care about uptime because my network just goes down randomly all the goddamn time and I have to fix it by having someone wheel a laptop up and plug it to a serial port, old school style, for me to fix it.
Holy shit!
So the people on my shit are people I know who know me and who want me to read their email. Basically, that is.
Oh, and that's good, man. But like going back to what you said, you're right. It's for people that Dick likes. My issue becomes, what if he no longer likes you? Right? If he no longer likes you, then he says, I have the right to refuse service at any time.
I guess I'll bump off and find something else, or I won't.
I mean, that's well and true, Josh, I guess. But like the issue I have is, you've said my success is tied to Dick's success, and people on his website are there because he likes them.
Yes.
And when you have those 2 statements, it presents a conflict of interest when there's a Dick Masterson thread and you've decided to lock it, right? It doesn't matter if it was brigaded or whatever. It gives the appearance of a conflict of interest. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But I mean, it's open now. There's like 4 different threads for people to talk about related drama that's ongoing.
I know.
And I can't help. I can only help what I can do. You know what I mean? I can't.
Well, you can't change the past, and I'm not asking you to change the past.
It's not changing the past. It's I can only do what I can do, and I can't force other people to perceive things differently. Because there's a lot of things that I use that I don't want to use.
Control people's perception, but we can try and alter it. And so, like,
but why would I?
Well, if people had a different perception of you, Josh, you wouldn't have as many problems as you have, right?
Well, the people who are angry are not the people who are going to get me back into the good graces of the cabal. They're going to get me back into Patreon. The people who are angry right now are people.
That's true. You got a point there. I'm just saying that when you like let's go through it one at a time, right? So where this starts, where your involvement starts in this that I consider suspicious, is you post about Dax's mansion in his thread, defending the mansion. And I just wonder why you've come in to defend the mansion. Like, why?
Because it's an expensive house. I want an expensive house. If someone said that my $1 million, I don't give a if it was a hut in the middle of Ukraine. If it cost $1 million, you will refer to my mansion as a mansion, as far as I'm concerned. Because I would. Okay, he's talking about moving. I think it would be funny if he sold his, Beverly Hills house or whatever the fuck, Beverly Hills garage, Beverly Hills shack, Beverly Hills shanty, Beverly Hills double wide trailer with fleas and a cat. It would be funny if he sold that and bought a house that's very specifically 5,001 square feet in Texas.
You've seen Jim's property, right? His new one. That to me is more of a mansion than Dax Herrera's property, even though it's 1/5 the cost. So
I mean, if it's a big house, it's a big house. My thing was, I thought a mansion was just the price tag. I thought if a house was $1 million, it's a mansion. But no, apparently it's very specifically square feet. So yeah, I was just wrong. about what details a mansion, I guess.
It's just like it blows my mind though that you come into this thread to defend Dax Herrera, even though defending him publicly on your own forum would lend to appear to be a conflict of interest in trying to have him avoid embarrassment. And because if he's embarrassed and his public profile goes down, your success is tied to his.
For having a civil dispute about Crack Shack or mansion. That is.
If it was just this, right? If it was just this, it wouldn't be a problem, Josh. You know what I mean? Crack Shack or mansion, it don't matter.
Okay, hold on.
Really,
we have to do the thing.
Day,
Chat, press. Actually, can I get like a picture of his house? Surely someone must have a picture of his house. I want to do.
They do.
I want to do a Crack Shack or mansion just real fast, because I want to remind people what it looks like. Because you can't be an asshole and do the one where it's like from the street view, because he lives on the hills, so it's like the top floor where you enter is just the top of the house, and you walk downstairs and shit, and there's more of it.
Well, the street view is total merkening, which is the one that we all use.
Doesn't that change people's optics? Doesn't that have a conflict of interest when you only use the front house?
I don't get paid for what I do. That's the difference, right? But it doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, whether it's a Crack Shack or a mansion is really irrelevant. It's just that you're commenting on it, But go ahead, do the.
Oh, it's not in the OP for some. The OP for his thread sucks. Someone needs to write
it sucks ass.
Someone needs to write a new one.
Yeah, I know.
Why don't you do it? You have an account, right? Don't you purse
No,
city or whatever?
No, I'll never have an account, Josh. I don't think so. If I have a thread, I have an account. I'll just go into my own thread all day, just like Ralph. Yell at them. How dare you? How dare you say this about me?
What did he got mad at something in this thread recently? I forgot what. Okay, here, I'll just do this. I couldn't find a better picture. Someone happened to post it. Okay, chat, is this a Crack Shack or a mansion? I need you all to enlighten me. And at least, I don't know. I was going to say that the yard looks nice, but the yard looks about as nice as my house did in Florida, and I didn't really take care of it.
Yeah. It's not what I would consider to be a mansion. Like, I think of mansions as like, I don't know, like when I was growing up, I almost felt like I lived in a mansion because it was like 5 bedrooms with like 3 bathrooms and had a jacuzzi tub in it and a veranda deck, and it was on 3 acres. I'd almost consider that a mansion, but I didn't. Like, I consider a mansion to be like a real estate. Do you know what I mean? Where you have like more than 5 bedrooms, like 10 or 15, 20 bedrooms.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I've been to Graceland, and I guess that would be Elvis Presley's estate, and that would be a fair mansion, but
yeah, because what happens, right? So the discussion comes up about the mansion, like what my impression of it was, and without reading the post back to you verbatim, it's kind of, we lose a lot of the context, but it seemed to me like you got pissed that people told you it was a Crack Shack instead of a mansion, and then you locked the thread. That's what it looked like to me. Like, you got mad that people were saying, no, it's not a mansion. So you locked it,
What was actually the triggering event for that was, it was like the 3rd time where like 5 or 10 new accounts joined specifically to start posting in the dick thread, specifically to start tagging me into it, specifically to try and get me to move that thread to a different board and change it. And I just don't like that.
You? No, I get that. Like, can't you just ignore their pleas and just say F it? And just leave it open?
I mean, I could have, I guess. That would have been the smart thing to do. I get really indignant about it, though. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? I give way too much to have people tell me to
this
win
is
my
where,
site.
like, my meme comes from, that, like, it's opposite day with Josh. Like, if I tell Josh to get his life together and to pull it through, he'll fall into self-dependency. But if I tell him to kill himself, he'll fucking improve his life tenfold. You just, whatever somebody tells you to do, you're like, I'll do the opposite tenfold, cunt. And so, like, that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't understand why you wouldn't have just left the thread open, because then there can be no suggestion that you weren't just shit posting about the mansion. Instead, it looks like you got defensive about it because, again, I hate to say this, but the cleanup you were doing for Mr. Herrera didn't work and didn't stop him from being embarrassed, and so you locked the thread.
I didn't delete anything in that thread. I locked it because I needed time to think about what to do with it.
Well, true. You don't need to delete anything in it because, one, it's in multimedia. So, like, here's the thing, Josh. If you were really cleaning it up for Dick, your best move would have been to leave it in multimedia, leave it unlocked, and just ignore all this bullshit. You know? But because you locked the goddamn thing and then started what I say is a containment thread, but the reality is it's not a containment thread because it was very visible. It's not like buried somewhere.
It was featured.
It was featured. Now that, but what bothers me about that is then it stops people from posting in Dax's own thread about issues related to him. And so that when people then in the future go to look into Dax Herrera on Kiwi Farms, they don't get a full picture of Dax because 500 pages worth of shit on him is in a locked thread in Trash Fire that nobody's going to find a year from now. Do you know? Do you see where
I mean, it's like with the actual Trash Fire thread itself. The forum is a collaborative effort. You decide your own level of involvement. Like, very few threads are personally made by me, and I'll rush them out if I feel it's like a hot button issue. But if someone wants to rewrite an OP for a thread, they have to submit it forward, and then I have to run like 8 different database queries to manually change the OP to be that post. But I'll do it. I mean, it's just that as far as any of these people go, not one of them has had the gumption or the incentive to sit down and say, I'm going to write a really good page or a really good article about this and ask it to be the new OP. And that's what's different. Why do other threads get different treatment? Because the people posting to those threads understand the forum, understand the process, and they're not just transplants from image boards trying to execute some vengeance on this guy.
Right. Now, but I mean, is there anything wrong with there being transplants from image boards wanting to execute vengeance on a locale?
Yeah, it's because it's gay and it's not funny. The forum is not like a weapon to be used, you know what I mean?
But is it about ethics and locale milking?
Yeah, because if it's not funny, it's why even bother?
I kind of agree with you. Like, I do agree with you that we shouldn't just be, grinding axes against trying to ruin their lives.
And that's very specifically what a lot of this is. I still maintain that the entire reason that this is even happening, the reason why there's this look into New Project 2 and Dick is because Dick makes continued appearances on Ethan Ralph's show, and I think that a lot of this is just people trying to end Ethan Ralph.
Well, there's undoubtedly a lot of people who hate Ethan Ralph that also hate Dax Herrera. It's just when you say like it's about ethics and locale milking, right? It's just, for me, that's not the image I get of Kiwi Farms. Now, again, I'm not a regular user.
No.
It's just like when I read the tin of Kiwi Farms, I think I can do anything now. This is the Wild West. This is 2005 again, right?
I try to avoid saying the site is a free speech site, and that's very like moot-esque to say that it's not a free speech site, but I try to avoid that descriptor for the same reason I try to avoid the term liberal. Like, I'm technically a liberal. If you look at what I believe, I'm a liberal, but I can't call
Sargon.
I can't call myself that. Yeah, no, that's exactly like Sargon had the same train of thought. He can't call himself a liberal because you assign that to like the gender toad people, and it's just a disgusting mental image. So it's like, let's come up with something new. I'll call myself a liberalist or a libertarian. So I end up calling myself a libertarian, but I really don't believe in unrestricted rights for private corporations. I don't believe in the personhood of corporations. So
you're not a big Mitt Romney guy?
So I try to
people, my friend.
I try to avoid saying free speech because free speech is a concept, and people have very different ideas of what free speech is to them. Everyone has a different idea of where the boundaries are.
Where do you draw the boundary, Josh? Where is the boundary drawn? Because
I try to say free expression instead. I think that people should be allowed to say what they want. And opine as they want and look into things and share things and evaluate things without any pressures.
Because I know you as the guy who told the New Zealand government to get fucked.
Right?
Like,
because they tried what gets me is, and I don't post a lot of the emails I get. We talked about my emails before we went live, and I talked about how I still get those very naive emails like, oh, I'm going to go to the police about this thread if you don't take it. Like, I still get those. I just don't publish them because, like, the naivety is almost cute to me. What I publish is the impertinent email, where it's like they don't understand that they're asking for a request. They're making a demand.
Yeah.
And that's what gets to me. The New Zealand police, with a position of zero authority, dictated to me that I will preserve IP addresses of users so that I can send them the IP address of everyone who participated in that Brenton Tarrant thread so that they could imprison people who were participants and who lived in New Zealand. Yeah. That's what they told me. And I read that and I became unfathomably upset. I'm like, how dare you?
And I totally agree with you, Josh. Like, this is one of the things where me and Godwinson disagree. He believes that you should have complied with the government's order. I believe...
Oh, I hate the British. Why are they all awful?
Yeah, I know. I have these conversations with him. And I believe that you were right to do that. It's just the difference for me becomes, like, there's that instance. The other one Godwinson will bring up to me is that, I don't know if this is true. Did one of the moderators behead his girlfriend? And, like...
What?
Was there some sort of person who got beheaded and you were posting images?
Oh, you're thinking of the chick from R9K, Cracky Chan.
That's okay. Yeah, I remember this now. Yeah.
The reason why he's upset about that is I think she was 17. What happened is she was like a drug user. And she baited along this guy from R9K from 4chan, that's from what I understand. And they had a falling out. And he got her into his car and slit her throat and took video of it and posted it on Instagram. And I put that up on the site.
Right. And so this is fine, right? Like I thought maybe that one is different because there's not as much of a newsworthy or journalistic reason to keep it up, but I still believe you have a right to keep it up. But it's where this relates to New Project 2 and the Dick thread and all this is you allowed a person's beheaded head to be shown. You allowed the Christchurch shooting to be shown, but you won't allow 10 users to brigade a Dax Herrera thread. And that to me is weird. And with the financial ties you have to Dax Herrera.
It's not okay. This is my perspective. And I developed this a long time ago where I have a rule against backseat moderating, and I really hate it when someone makes a new thread and they say, this is a person I am passionate about. I think they're funny. I watch their stuff and I laugh at it. And then a bunch of people reply going, how is this a lolcow? This thread is so bad. You didn't do a good job on this OP at all. I don't see where the funny is. I hate those people. Shut the up. If you don't have something to add to the thread and you're not a moderator, don't tear it down. If you don't give a don't post. That's a guiding rule everywhere. If you don't care, don't post. And these people who go into a thread that's brand new, that someone made from the bottom of their heart, yada yada, and just try and shit on it, I consider that a form of censorship. I consider going into something and trying to shut down the conversation or redirect it or shift it artificially in certain directions. I consider that all a form of censorship to a point. Which is why I like to, as I said, I like to use the term free expression, because I think people should be allowed to express their opinion without external pressures, as opposed to free speech, which is could be construed to mean I'm allowed to say whatever I want. I'm allowed to post Viagra ads on your website, and if you try to stop me, that's censorship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but like when you say like altering the conversation or redirecting the conversation as a form of censorship. I know you're speaking about that specific context of backseat moderation, but you realize that that's what you did with the Dax Herrera thread and the Trash Fire thread, right?
In what sense?
Well, you redirected the conversation from Dax's multimedia thread to the Trash Fire thread, and you altered the conversation. That was an effort to make it grow. By giving it a place to grow. That's a way to help the conversation by organizing it. understand
that's a huge part of what being the forum Janny is organizing things. I mean, it's more of a clerical job. It's a job.
No, but I mean, by your own words, right? To alter the discussion or to redirect the discussion is a form of censorship. So I just wanted to bring out how that kind of contradicted. But I understand you were speaking about it in a specific context related to
I disagree that making a thread specifically for the event is in any way a misdirection, or because you can still talk about Dick there.
Well, it's redirection, right?
And the thread opened at some point before that other thread closed. So if you wanted to add something, if you wanted to double post something into the other thread, you're more than able to.
But you would agree to me that by locking the thread, the Dax Terrera thread initially, that alters the conversation, right, going forward? Because there's always going to be a question of why was this locked.
Well, that's really meta. That's like a butterfly effect kind of question. That's beyond the scope of a space station janitor. You know what I mean?
Space station janitor. Look, man, I'm just saying there's some things here, and I think you would agree with me, where there are decisions that people could conclude have been influenced by the money that you get from Dax, right?
In what way specifically? Like, I'm inclined to like him more as a person because he has done things. He has put himself out in a position of vulnerability to assist me in my site, to advertise, to let me on. When I first showed up on the Dick Show, you can go and find this episode. I was very nervous. It was one of the first times I ever went on the mic to talk to someone about something that the forum was. And you could hear, if you think my voice sounds bad ordinarily, you should hear what I sound like when I'm extremely nervous and have a dry mouth.
You sound strong today.
Thank
a lot
you.
Better than most of your streams, to be honest.
Thanks.
That's kind of a Trump compliment.
Yeah, it's a backhanded compliment. But no, specifically that episode, when I was slated to come on, he got an email from Vordrak, and Vordrak was like, this guy runs a website that kills people, this guy is a terrorist, this guy, yada, yada, the whole Vordrak spiel. And Dick emails me, he's like, who the is this guy? I never had a guest who gets slated to come on, and then I get an email a week before that's saying all this shit. That's crazy. And that, if anything, is what sealed Dick's interest in me and my site, is that this comes out the woodwork to try and shut it down immediately as soon as I get scheduled to come on. I forget what point I was going to make, but no, that's why I like him, because he's done things for me that people don't have to. Nobody has to give a about me or my interests. And
no, from the count that I've got, I understand you've been on 11 times.
Really?
Yeah, so you've been on for actually 5% of all Dick shows.
Oh my God,
Joshua Moon in. But so that was just something that somebody sent me to say, wow, this guy, he really is tied in tight with Dick, to where he's been on 11 times and he's getting $1,800 from him. And
hold up. Is that the real Ralph? Did Ralph really say that?
Oh my God, who knows, man?
No, hold up.
Here's the
please. I have to repeat
all
this.
right.
If he actually said this, it's on DLive. I have to check. The Ralph retort. There it is. View channel. This has to be it. Yeah. Ralph says, why doesn't he just interview Corey Barnhill next?
What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit.
Wow, dude.
Is that really him?
Yeah, that's him. He said that. He doesn't have a verified sticker on DLive, so I was unsure at first.
So,
but
just one quick point to make right away. Ethan Ralph has had Corey Barnhill on his program how many times? He's also had you on his program how many times? I'm not even having you on my platform either. I'm on your platform. So the idea that he's having that somehow he can stand on a moral high ground and spit on me or spit on you over Corey Barnhill is a fraud. But, this is the sort of guy that he is. He's probably drunk, 2-3 in the afternoon, wasted out of his mind, and he has nothing better to do than watch his enemies, talk about something that really has all to do with him, really, other than that he's on the site making his pittance $300. Bum. Hate to go off on a rant on him.
he made $1,000, he said. Where are you getting these numbers?
Well, on his new project too, was it $300 a month, right?
Does he use new project too, or does he use Patreon?
Both. Yeah. Which is another thing that's weird, is people using both when,
Oh, that's not weird. I mean, I consider all that like the Sargon argument. Like, if you believe this, why don't you quit Patreon? Why don't you quit New Project 2? Because it's money. Money doesn't have a political affiliation. You know, exploit every resource that you have available to you that doesn't compromise your product or your core mission. I don't. Like, I use Cloudflare, and I have some qualms with Cloudflare. I use a lot of services that, like, I have a MasterCard and Visa card in my wallet because I need one. It's not because I support MasterCard and Visa card, you know?
No, I understand. There are certain things where you have business with companies.
And we were having a conversation about religion before we started streaming.
Yeah. And
we brought up marriage as an instance of a materialistic thing, which I find... I don't agree with at all. You say that an ascetic lifestyle with dedication to Christ and God is the true virtue, and foregoing marriage because, you know, what is it? Adultery is committed in the mind, in the eye of the beholder, and not necessarily by having sex and that kind of stuff.
Let me explain.
That's like, but people need like.
Let me explain. So what I mean by this, right? There is nothing sinful about marriage. There is nothing wrong with getting married and having children. As you pointed out in Genesis 9:12, be fruitful and multiply. Matthew 5, Jesus quotes that same verse, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But the Apostle Paul points out in 1 Corinthians 7, I think 8 and 9, he says, it's better for you to not be married. He's speaking to the Christians at that time. In the specific context of this, under the Roman Empire, they're under hard persecution for being a Christian. You could be killed for being a Christian. So if you have a family and you have children, they can be used against you by the state as a chip to influence your faith and to break down your faith. We live in somewhat similar times today where a lot of governments take issue with Christianity. And so for a lot of people, it is better that they not have a family. But the Apostle Paul says, if you burn and you're going to sin, you're going to commit adultery because you don't have a wife, it's better for you to be married. And most people, 99% of people fit into the group, it's better for them to be married. You know, there's only about maybe less than 1% of people that it'd be better for them to be eunuchs for Christ and to focus their whole life on God. But the Catholic conception as well that a priest has to be celibate is incorrect, right? Like, you don't have to be celibate to be a preacher. There's no requirement.
They changed that after the scandal in the 2000s.
Well, rightfully so. But having garbage rules like that is what leads to stuff like this. When you add or take away from God's word, as the Catholic Church does, because they believe that their tradition overrides Scripture, you end up with situations like this. So I believe that you speak where the Bible speaks and you're silent where it's silent. But I understand how it can be
I just wanted to make the point that even in the best case scenario where you are following your virtues to the letter, you know, you can have this very ascetic lifestyle where you forego anything that might compromise you. But practically, you can't live like that. You have to do things that show your ass a little bit, so that you can do things, you know?
Well, you know, Romans 3 says, right, all men have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And that's very true. All men have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We're all sinners, and even people who have been Christians 40, 50 years. My grandfather had a terrible temper, and sometimes he would sin in his anger. And I brought that up in my one video with you there. I was speaking to you. We all sin. We all have our strokes. We all have our temptations. There's no way to live a perfect life. But it's that pursuit of perfection that is the ideal, that you will never reach, but you try. But I understand what you mean. And if in Ecclesiastics we read, there's a time and a season for all things under the sun. You know, there's things that, you know, there's always a time for it. There's college, there's high school, you know, for drinking or for drugs or for whatever. But by the time you're Ethan's Ralph's age, drinking every day is no longer cool. You know, it's no longer the time or season for such behavior. And so it becomes time to put away childish things. Right? But it's just, all things are lawful, really, for a Christian to do, but not all things are helpful for you as a Christian to do. They're not expedient for you to do. They won't lead you to a better life. You know, the Lord can forgive just about any sin, you know, but you need to be able to be self-aware enough to seek forgiveness, realize you're not perfect, and move on. But
well, in that allegory, then, what is my finding Jesus? What is my seeking repentance for what I've done? Because I don't feel like I've done anything wrong.
Well, in terms of what?
In terms of New Project 2.
Well, only you know what you've done. I don't know what you've done, right? I only speculate on what you've
Father
done.
PPP, it has been 20 years since my last confession. I must tell you that I accept money from a Jewish Mexican man in his New Project 2 WordPress blog. But
you have to remember, number one, I don't accept a title like father or pastor or anything like that. Those titles are unscriptural. Jesus says, call no man your father. And so if you accept a title like that, you're elevating yourself above others. And that's what the Catholic Church is about having a clergy class and a laity class. That's not what I believe in. I believe in all Christians are equal. There are roles within churches. There are deacons. There are elders. There are preachers. But a title like father, a title that there's no authority for in the Bible, I don't believe in. And also, you don't confess your sins to any man. A man can't forgive your sins. I can't forgive your sins, Josh. Only God can forgive your sins. You know, like the Refn film, only God forgives.
But the problem is that there is a public inquiry, which you are very much the head of, not Jesse, you. So surely...
Oh, no, he's the puppet master. It's Kraut. It's Kraut that's doing it all.
Well, what do Kraut and Jesse, what do they expect? Because this is my thing. When I've said that you've argued in bad faith before. What I mean is that, for instance, a long time ago, we had a guy called Jace Connors, and I did a stream on him. He's very funny. His whole shtick was very funny. But there became a time where people started to believe that he was an act. And people found this actor from MDE called Jan Rankowski, who looked a lot like Jason. In his MDE skits, he usually brings up the same kind of things that Jace talks about, like military stuff. And as people started to bring this forward to me, I was very reluctant to believe that it was all a ruse, right? And I said, look, I can believe that MDE and Jace talk about the same things and they look alike. What you have to find for me to believe you that this is the same person is you have to find me something that proves that Jace Connors owns something of Jan Rankowski's. Because if that happens, then I know for sure that it is the same person. Because that's not a coincidence anymore. And they did find that Jace had the Steam account of Jan Rankowski that he advertised on his MDE profile. So it was definitely the same person, and I couldn't deny it anymore. So if the question is there collusion? Are you influenced in a way that causes you to act contrary to your principles? My question would then be, in good faith, what could possibly be done to demonstrate that is not the case?
Well, it's not my job to try and tell you what you have to do or what you should do. And I can't do so, because if I do so, you'll do the opposite of whatever I encourage you to do or say that you need to do to repent. And it's first of all, it's not my place anyway to tell you this, right? But honestly, there are steps that you could take to be a little bit more transparent with this stuff, in terms of, you know, not inserting yourself into the guy's thread, not locking the thread, not, you know, creating these, you know, trash fire thread and all this other shit. Do you know what I mean?
The trash fire thread, I still don't, because that would have been 500 pages in the dick thread. And 500 pages in the dick thread is no more helpful to finding out who Dax Herrera really is any more so than it is in its own thread. It just keeps the dick thread cleaner. It's actually a service to anyone trying to find information about him.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because in a few years' time, I mean, you know, people aren't going to know.
In a few years' time, nobody's going to be thinking about this at all. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Who knows? Who knows, really? I mean, I just don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, Josh. I really don't know. You know, what I saw happen was that Dick got made fun of because of these texts by Jesse, and, you know, a whole bunch of people that are affiliated with New Project 2 came in on Twitter to run Defense Force ops for Dick and say how much of a Chad he was.
And all that shit's gay as I'm not going to defend a 40-year-old man that can defend himself. At this point in his life, he should be in a position of unassailable authority regarding his own life. You know what I mean?
But this is what's up, is you did defend him in his mansion and all this shit in his thread.
I just disagree. I just disagree with the appraisal of a house with a market value of $1 million. I think $1 million is $1 million, and doesn't matter if it's like an apartment in New York City or if it's an actual rural estate in Wyoming for 50 acres.
It is if the asset is highly overvalued. If it's not actually what it's worth, and the real estate market is overinflated like it is in Los Angeles.
Yeah. And he should get the f*** out. And if it happens where the market crashes and he's holding bags, then go ahead, make fun of him for it.
But do you know what I mean? Like, it's obviously not a mansion. Like in Vancouver, in Los Angeles, in New York City, you know, these places aren't mansions that are valued at $1 million. They're starter homes. Godwin's
I concede. I formally concede that it is not a mansion. At the time, though, I thought that the market value was what determined mansionhood. I was uninformed on the mansion question, but I have since been enlightened very thoroughly. It literally is not playing defense for Dick.
But if we're crucifying the men on Twitter who called Dax a Chad and defended the 40-year-old man who should be able to defend himself, you yourself are guilty of the same behavior because you jumped into his thread to defend
I never defended Dick. I just think that it's unfair to try and fault him for having a highly valued estate.
I mean, for you to say you've never defended Dick, I mean, that's what you're doing right now.
In what way?
So, I mean,
by saying that that he's not extorting. I'm not defending him by saying you're questioning me you're saying that I'm being extorted into a position where I'm being nicer to him. That's a question about me. I'm not defending him. I'm defending myself.
I don't know, man. It seems like with this whole mansion thing, with locking the thread, I just don't understand why there was so much hands-on involvement on something.
Because I was directly tagged into the thread. It was brought to my attention, so I dealt with it personally. If people don't want my involvement on something, don't tag me into it.
Well, I just don't know, man. You at the end of the day are responsible for your own actions. It's not that, you know, by tagging you into that, you're then forced to make posts defending whether or not it's a mansion, and then getting upset about it and locking the thread. Now, you said you didn't get upset about it.
No, I locked the thread because it became such a ridiculous shit show. And again, it is the second or third time where that's happened, where people joined the thread out of nowhere and started bringing up this random shit that the Jesse guy from that's the main thing. When Jesse starts pushing something really hard and the thread starts getting all this traction again from brand new accounts, it's like, okay, this is gay. I don't want to deal with it.
I think we can kind of understand. I think the audience can why, at least what your official explanation is what it is. I just think that even your official explanation is providing more questions than it does answers.
In what way?
Because, and it's just causing even more fuel to go onto the fire of it. And I'm just not sure what the way is to totally clear it. Because, okay, sure, you could release your DMs with Dick. I don't think you're going to do that. You know, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, and the main reason why, besides obviously not wanting to make yourself a person that people can't trust to talk to, is a lot of what we talk about is like strictly business. Like I'm asking him about payment processors or about this service that he uses.
That's the info that people want to know is the business info.
It's basically like, what bank do you use? Can you get me in touch with this guy? Can you hook me up with this? What gateway are you using for this? I'm doing the merch run. What do you use for this? You know, that kind of stuff. He has never, I will say this, I have never, ever received money from Dax Herrera. I have never received money from him. The money I've received have been from the New Project 2. I pay him for New Project 2. I pay him 3% of what I make.
I think to say that is a bit asinine, right? Because the money comes from Dick's bank account, right?
No, it does not. It comes from the New Project 2 bank account. He can't legally, he cannot withdraw that money willy-nilly. It's not his money to take. It's the corporate income.
But without Dick's bank, right? So when Chase Bank went down, right, and deplatformed him, New Project 2 didn't work, right?
Yeah.
So without Dax's bank, there is no New Project 2.
There was the New Project 2 bank account. That's why that went down. He had not used it for anything else besides New Project 2.
Right.
That's why it was weird.
That's why it was bank. It's Dax's bank. You know that. Like, it's Dax's bank. At the end of the day, if Dax doesn't want you to be paid, you're not going to be paid. It's not his money. It's your supporters' money that
he's the owner of the company. He can make that decision.
And that's what I'm saying is the problem, is that when you have somebody who's so invested in the scene as Dax, who has personal vendettas and grudges, who, if he decides he doesn't like you and he's going to bury you, he can kick you off. It's not a real alternative. And what it seems to be instead is some sort of cabal where
I would agree
you do
with
favors
you
for
more
him and he...
if it were anything else besides money, because in the United States, all banking is governed by a very small part of the USA Patriot Act passed in 2001. It was passed like 2 months after 9/11, and it basically, what it does is it deputizes all the banking institutions in the United States to watch out for terrorism and fraud and stuff on behalf of the government. And if the banks don't take appropriate actions to stop fraud on behalf of the government, then they become liable. It's like a inverse of 230 for the CDA.
So this is what concerns me too, is Chase and Discover and Bank of America all drop Dick. Which normally if a bank drops you, you think it's because of fraud. That's the first thing you think, right? The person was fraudulent?
No. Don't think that. They will drop you for any reason or no reason at all. If they have any suspicion, if they don't like you, if you end up on a hate list, if someone at the SPLC asks for it, if anything happens whatsoever, you are off and you have no recourse because they're private banks. You don't have any say in it whatsoever. There's no federal version. There's no public option when it comes to the payment networks. You're just... And that's why he has to be particular. He does have to sort through it because he's
So,
staking his
with
reputation on it.
With how much bullshit that's surrounding all this shit, I mean, you really don't have an alternative then to New Project 2.
I could try. Like I said, I contacted Subscribestar. I have had success in getting onboarded with payment processors.
So
the problem is keeping
let's
them.
say, let's say, so you get the call tomorrow. Dax says, "You're done, Josh. I've got an order that they're going to drop everybody's payments unless I drop you. I'm going to drop you, Josh."
Okay, that would
it
be
doesn't
fair.
even have anything to do with your janitorial work, you know? What are you going to do the next day? How are you going to survive, man?
The same way that I did for the years, but when I didn't have New Project. New Project 2, I got on like last year. I made money before then. I did contracts. It was rough. You have to pull extra to do it. I got lucky with Bitcoin. I got lucky with getting a couple gigs and stuff. I got people sent donations in via crypto, but the site managed.
I mean, isn't it better though? Like if you were able to survive that way and
of course
stand
it's
on
better.
your own,
Otherwise, I wouldn't bother.
I mean, if it's better for you to stand on your own and not have Dax Herrera, because him being an active influencer in this scene, interacting with people in a political way, having feuds with people in this scene, I mean, it causes a conflict of interest, and I think that you would want to get away from. It does not cause a conflict
of interest because I have not. If he tried to threaten me into doing something, it would be worth more money than what he gives me. Or
You
what
gotta
he
remember that
processes
it's
for me.
never a threat, right? When I hate to reference this, when Gonzalo Lira made his video "How Blackmail Works and How It's Done," and we all can imagine that Coach knows how that works. He says it's never an outright threat. It's an implication that if you do this for me, things will be good for you. You won't have to worry. You just do me this favor.
Yeah, he tried that a bunch of times. Coach did. Coach always kind of hinted, would love to do this someday. I can do this for you, but I'd love to do this too. And I just nah.
So you can see how people would think that there's an implied blackmail from Dax that
Dick has never. I've dealt with Coach. I know how Coach operated and how he asked for favors and how we had a boys talk once about how people doing favors for each other is natural. It's kind of like the priest talking about touching boys. It's natural. Everyone touches.
Oh, it's natural. It's good.
It's natural. Yeah. No, but I know what
that'll be
is
clipped
like.
out of context.
So I know what that's like. I know how people, I've been to Ukraine. I've been to the Philippines. I know what people do when they want something, when they are hinting that they want a bribe solicited from you. I've never, ever, ever felt uncomfortable in that way talking to Dick or Dax.
Dax. I don't even know what to call him, because for most of my life I've known him as Dick Masterson, that I knew of him. I really only knew about him maybe 3 years ago. I saw the Dr. Phil bit, and I thought it was pretty good because, I do a lot of IRL trolling like that, and I think it's great. I think it's hilarious. to do that. And so I like that bit, but everything else I've ever seen from him hasn't quite been on that same level. But I've never really listened to a full episode of the Dick Show or anything like this. But at this point, it's like, okay, like I'm going to call him Dax Herrera because that's his real name, and I can't believe his real name is Dax.
Yeah, his real name sounds faker than his fake name.
Yes. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Fuck. But do you know anything about this? So yesterday, I learned that. So when all the banks dropped him, he went with this Chinese bank in Chinatown. Do you know which bank that is, or like what's going on with
I
that?
do know the bank. I do know the processor, and I mean, I don't know if he's just spinning a story or what. But the guy I talked to was white.
So it's not Cafe Bank.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not like a triad bank. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would bank with a triad bank. I might
What?
kiss the ring and and take out someone for the Don Corleone.
Josh, you're not helping your case here, Josh. I'm just going to tell you now.
Look,
You're
there's
not
a
helping your case,
difference.
Josh.
There's a difference between helping Don Corleone and compromising my web zone. Now, if Don Corleone tried to give me an offer I couldn't refuse regarding my website, I might have to take the bullet. I might have to take the L. I might have to bury a horse head in the backyard. But you know, if it's just taking out the trash, the garbage, maybe Don Corleone could get that. I'm just saying.
So, wait a minute, what? Josh, what? Is this like your confession? You're like, look, I wouldn't kill anybody to keep the lights on, but I should clean it up now.
No. The other way around. Don't misconstrue what I've said. I said I'd kill someone, but I won't sweep it up. It's the opposite. It's the inverse.
What? I don't know, man. You said you were going to take out the garbage. You know, like, I don't know, janitors do that. I don't know, man.
Might have to bury someone in the cornfields. It's just business. It's nothing personal.
This is a pretty confusing defense here. I don't know. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, what bothers me is, like, with this whole new Project 2 thing, you see people, like, who are normally like enemies, like were enemies before it, are now like friends and like on the same side defending Dick. Like Toad McKinley, if you remember, Ralph had that drunken rant about how a lolcow scholar and a certain toadstool. I don't know if you ever heard that rant, but now Toad McKinley and Ralph are on the same team, like licking Dax's balls as a child.
No, I think the alliances are a huge part of it. I mentioned this in one of my streams right before I did the corn thing. As I talked about, I think the main reason why people are so rowdy and ready for something to break down is just because they're so bored of like the friendliness. You know what I mean? It's just everyone's so friendly now. There's a level of stability, and people are bored with it.
Well, it is boring. Nobody's entertained by any of this shit. You have a bunch of guys who are all circle jerking, sucking each other's cock. Yeah. When they,
and you know what? I take a level of personal responsibility for this because I think that the moment where things began to be undone is very specifically when I got up on Serbian Sink vodka and got on the Ralph retort during the Killstream Hall of Fame thing with Dick. Did you listen to that?
I think that was when Dick did his roast, and he did like the speech where like his jokes weren't landing or something.
Yeah, and I made fun of him for half an hour straight while totally pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that was the beginning of the end.
I want to get into this with you because this week something happened where it kind of changed my view of things. And that was when you went on the Dick Show with Ralph. And Godwinson's take on it was that this was you being called into your boss's office for a disciplinary to be told, like, these two employees need to stop fighting.
Oh,
and
he never contacted me about that. I went on because Ralph invited me.
Ralph invited you on, okay. But it felt like, to him anyway, you two come on there, and like it's like a punishment. Like Ralph is like your punishment for not cleaning it up well enough. And he's yelling at you and telling you you're going to be sacrificed. And like when the battle is going back and forth about who's about to be sacrificed, it feels like, well, which capo is going to be whacked for Dax's dirty laundry not being cleaned? You know, that's what it felt like. And you're sitting there watching Dax like try and be like, I didn't know it was this serious. Can't you guys just make up?
One of the
Can't you
men, a man you know and trust implicitly, will invite you onto the Dick Show. He's the traitor. Take him out. Feed him to the corn. I mean, I felt afterwards. I have very mixed feelings about that. About the whole showing, because like it's an overwhelming sense of apathy meeting with like a lot of things that feel very pointed. It's extremely hard to explain, because on one hand it's just like, yeah, whatever, but on the other hand it's like everyone there was kind of a dick. So it
felt like, to me, like it was some sort of like weird like either ambush or like some sort of weird like Dax like saying like, you guys need to make up, like we're all in this new Project 2 family together and you guys need to stop fighting because it's bad for business, because it obviously is. It's obviously bad for business to have you guys.
I do agree with that. I do agree. Not even us fighting. Like, who gives? That's good for his show, if anything. I think that his reactions on Twitter directly impact me, and I really don't appreciate the back and forth.
Yeah, so this is what's up. Like I was going to mention that before we even got into that, but the conversation kind of naturally flowed just right into that segment. I mean, what the is Dick doing? Like, Kiwi Farms 101 and trolling 101. Don't feed the trolls. It's like rule 1, don't feed, and he's doing it.
No,
you're telling him not to.
Yeah, very specifically don't, because you'll think, oh, it's funny because they can't do anything. Haha, it's just like a bunch of people mad on the internet forum, and it's true. That's all true. The problem is, if you go in front of thousands of people and you say, I am God, you cannot touch me, a lot of those people are going to try, and Dick does have things that can be sabotaged for him. And it's like, I don't know why you're inviting people to come with you, because they will come with you if you continue to antagonize them. And if that happens, I can't help. So, and even beyond that, it's antagonizing people on my site kind of with me directly, and it's like, just stop. Because even if you find it funny, even if it was an objective win for you, like, this is all a direct result of me knowing Dick, and Dick having these weird Twitter feuds, and it's like, just stop.
But he won't stop. He won't stop. And like, to me, every single one of those tweets is like a bit of pressure, like a bit of implied pressure. Like, why is this not taking care of Josh?
No, I disagree. If that's the intent, it's not working at all. I'm not feeling that. The pressure that I'm feeling is from other people on the forum who I'm more accountable to, because they're my users.
Well, it's a question of who's your real master. Is it Dax Herrera, who tweets at you to remove this shit? Who's tweeting basically implied suggestions like this?
To look in. I mean, I did, and
or
I think that guy is Ben.
Or is it your users who pay you for real every month, and they'll follow you to any process?
The users,
and they'll do
obviously. I'm glad you brought that up, because the money comes from people. It doesn't come from Dick.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying, and that's why I'm worried that because Dick facilitates the transaction, you're losing sight of the fact that your money doesn't actually come from Dick. Your money comes from the users.
And then Ralph tweets out, like, in the D-Live chats, please stop dunking on Kiwi Farms. He's not dunking on Kiwi Farms. I'm telling you.
He's self-owning. He's like, putting a shotgun in his mouth and pulling the trigger.
It really speaks to the fact that after I left that episode, Eve, or whatever the his name is now, gets on and was like, yeah, dude, it's great to be and argue ad nauseum with these people. It's great. It works out well. It improves your life. No, it doesn't. Don't take advice from this retard, Dick. What are you doing? He wants to chemically castrate himself. He's not the person to take life advice from. I'm telling you. And neither is Ralph. Don't take life advice from Ralph regarding how to deal with the forum. His thread's 1,200 pages.
But what you honestly do have to be worried about, buddy, is that even if it's like, okay, you're totally innocent, you have no collusion with this guy, it might honestly be that he expects you to clean it up. And that, because think of it, who is a bigger, how do I phrase this? Who is a bigger, like, albatross for New Project 2? Would it be you or Milo? Like, who do you think that the authorities hate more?
Honestly, probably Milo, because I think Milo might actually be on list for credit processors.
I don't know.
He's a public figure, man. He's out there.
Yeah, I just think you guys it's pretty close. It's pretty close. And I just think that the biggest difference between you and Milo is that Milo doesn't have anything he can offer Dick, whereas you have the Kiwi Farms that Dick feels like he can get influence over by extending services to you, because that gives him power. You know, if he feels like he has authority over the guy who's the master of the Varus, so to speak, of internet blood sport, then
okay, let me just say that if that is his gambit, if that's actually what he entered into, and he entered into this with a completely bad faith perspective about one day having power to influence the site, then he's an idiot. He's retarded. If that's actually if I don't think it is, but if that's actually true, then that's absolutely retarded. Because look at what happened with the Ralph thread with Dispatch, the Snake Dispatch. Somehow 100 posts disappear, and I got this genius over here putting together archives saying, like, look, the post count went down. 100 posts are gone from this 1,200 page thread. Then clearly, why are you cleaning up for the gun, Josh? Why are you cleaning up for the gun? So I look into it. Like, that's the level of scrutiny that exists everywhere. And I look into it, and of course, it's Dispatch's friend who deleted all his posts, and he probably knew about that and tried to frame it as I deleted posts. But
yeah, I heard from Leo the Pirate about that or something, and like, I don't know what the to think about that. All I know is, like, somebody told me that posts from the Stream Me era had disappeared from the website. And so that was like, to me, like, oh, well, is it trying to cover up for killing Stream Me because he's new Project 2 buddies? But I have no clue what went on with Dispatch and shit.
Dispatch's friend Kowalski deleted all his posts in 2019, and I guess Kowalski said, hey, by the way, I deleted 165 of my posts in the Ethan Ralph thread like a year ago. You could bring up the fact that 100 posts are missing and try to get Josh for cleaning up the Ralph thread. And then he does it, and it's a complete failure, and he looks like a retard.
Well, I've never been a big Dispatch guy myself.
Well, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that the level of scrutiny that exists and the level of archiving, like if you go to archive.is and type in kiwifarms.net/*, you'll get like thousands of different archives on the thread. It's not possible for me to do what is being implied. I'd be eventually
the janitorial duties. Like, if you do any jannying, it gets caught. Like, you can't get away with it. It's just a question of people are wondering, well, you know, you were kind of hinting towards deleting the internet famous section in your posts in my thread the other day, like you were fed up with it and shit like this. And people think that
because of what I mentioned before, because it is not people trying to have fun. It is people who are very maligned against each other and who are just trying to break down these random like e-celebs, and whatever like comedy there is buried under like hatred and genuine like this sense of righteous indignation over internet shit. And it's like it's not funny, and if it's hurting other areas of the site, it would be worth deleting.
It just seems to me that all seems like a very convenient excuse to clean it up. Because if you do that, Ethan Ralph's thread's gone, my thread's gone.
Well, I would obviously move out some
thread's
threads.
Gone.
I promise you that if I delete the Internet Famous board, I'll move Ralph's out. Just between you and me.
Well, that's what I knew would happen. Like, what my prediction was, Internet Famous is going to be deleted, and mine and Ethan's will be moved. And what will happen is...
I mean, probably not yours. I'm thinking Boogie. And I'd probably move Jim back to multimedia, the Dick Show back to multimedia. Yeah.
Because what I thought would happen, to be perfectly honest with you, and I don't know if this will happen from this point on, because I think we're getting along well, but I think what was going to happen was you're going to delete Internet Famous, move me and Ralph into lolcow, and try and pin the deletion of Internet Famous on me for brigading the site and acting in bad faith.
Stupid and gay and convoluted. You have to remember that I'm like a retard. I don't think anything out beyond one step.
I don't know if you're helping your case here. I mean, you might be helping your case that, like, you're ignorant of Masterson's grand conspiracy, you know, by saying shit like this.
I'm just saying that if I deleted the Internet Famous board, it would be like it wouldn't be some well thought out like grand orchestra campaign into Persia. You know, it would just be like, yeah, this, I'm flushing the toilet.
You've got the advisors, bro. You have the grand viziers.
No, I don't.
Who give you counsel.
Oh, no, I don't. I don't talk to the admins before I do crazy shit. I just do it.
I don't know. You watch Game of Thrones, my friend?
No, I'm not gay.
Oh, okay. I thought you would react to my Varys reference, because Varys he's the master of whisperers. He has all the spies and all the gossip in the kingdom. And he's also like a eunuch. His penis doesn't work, and he's kind of fat. So, I figured, shit, that fits Josh to a T. And he's, he always appears like he's not really like a real player, but he actually is. And he's got all these chess moves that are way ahead of time. That's what I was assuming that Joshua Moon was. But now we just learned that he's an incompetent buffoon one step ahead of the law in Serbia, I guess. I don't know. Shit.
I mean, I guess. I don't really have a grand plan. I just try to have fun on the internet. And when things stop being fun, I have to figure out where the problem is, and then I fix the problem. That is
the other thing,
the
one thing that we do have to cover, because it just did happen. What's going on with this George Azulius guy? What the f*** is going on with George?
Oh, supposedly, okay, for instance, when Ralph came on and said perspiricity is PPP, obvious, E-Celeb, sock account, I looked at it and said, no, it's not. Dick said that this George Kagzunian guy is Ben. And I looked at it, and I was hoping to look at it and go, no, so shut up, stop arguing with the forum. But everything I see indicates that, yes, it is actually him.
My issue is, it looks as though, like, you've been instructed by Dick to dox Ben.
No, but if this guy is some kind of like Z-list E-Celeb, and he's trying to use my site as like a axe, to carry out a vendetta, then yeah, fuck him.
I just don't see why that matters, because there are a lot of other threads with a lot of other probably Z-Celebs under sock puppet accounts with axes to grind.
Oh,
and it doesn't.
I try to root them out. If someone joins the forum to talk and relay information on behalf of themselves, I like to verify them, like I did with Brian.
Yeah. I just don't know. It's like there's a lot of A-logs, right? There are a lot of A-logs on Kiwi farms. People who their sole purpose in life is just to f*** with another guy. Like in the DSP thread, I'm sure there are people like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like. Mm-hmm. And so, like, for me, it's almost like a question of selective enforcement, where it's like...
I mean, there's like 15 moderators and 45,000 users, and you do what you can. With DSP, I'll give you a great instance, since you brought DSP up. When you had those people who joined, and they were the Dutch people, and they were like, oh, I'm a Dutch prostitute, and I followed Darkside Phil, he gives me all this money, he owes me this money, he's going to pay what he owes. That was funny, and we promoted it as content. And then we found out that that wasn't true. And then we completely f***ed those people. We found out who they were. We found out where they lived. We translated that post into Dutch, specifically to f*** with them where they live, because they lived in the Netherlands. And it's like, thanks for the laughs, but you're still up by trying to abuse my site as a mechanism to make money for yourself.
The post that really concerned me was when you're like, does anybody know George's address or state or something? What did you say?
I asked for his state and last name. I was going to try and cross-reference something.
But it's almost like you're passing the responsibility for his doxing onto your own community.
Oh, no, I don't know it. I never found it out. I've not looked into it. But everything that I've seen indicates that it's probably this Ben guy.
Yeah.
And now Ben is passing around funny videos of him trying to make fun of me. It's like, okay, I guess I hit a nerve.
It's just, you don't see, right, how doing that gives the impression that you're cleaning it up for Dax. Like you're going after one of his detractors.
Sure.
To figure out his docs.
I mean, people believe what they want to believe. I've learned this over the long run, is that people will always believe what they want to believe, and you can't convince them otherwise unless they're actually curious.
I know, Josh. It's just like, it's not just the one instance. If it was just any one of these things, if it was just that you had $1,800 from Dick, okay. If it was just you had locked the Dax thread, okay. If it was just you had locked the Simpspiracy thread, okay. If it was just that you had asked for the docs of George to verify that he was Ben, okay. But it's all of these things all in a row that caused me to say, shit, this isn't just a Schizo X-Files post that I came up with while I was high. There might actually be something here.
It's been going on for over a month. It's the single largest event on the site. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be involved to some degree. It's unavoidable. And when I don't talk about it, since you brought that up, when I don't talk about it, I'm also complicit. If I do things, if I get involved, I try to see who's throwing what shit. then I'm defending Dick, and I'm way too involved. I usually don't get this involved. If I don't get involved and I ignore it like I did originally, why is he covering this up for? He's not talking about it. He'd be talking about this if it was Monday Matt. He really is sweeping it up, and it's like, okay, I can't win either way, so I might as well just do what I want, and perspectives be damned. Your optics.
Well, I think ultimately, I mean, you're going to double down with Dax no matter what and stay with him. And I don't know
I
if
did
that's
say that I was
necessarily the right
looking into
move.
Subscribestar because I may not be the greatest Vizier or whatever I notice trends, and I don't want to hitch my everything that I have to one person. Not that I've hitched everything to him anyways.
It's not
I'm
my
just
quest
saying.
to f you. It's not my quest to f you out of $1,800 a month and make you destitute in the gutter. That's not what I want. I just want it to be clear that there's no collusion between you and Dax Herrera. And like the easiest way to do that is to find you an alternative where you can make the same money or better, where a third of your transactions aren't bouncing every month.
They're bouncing because of the payee. That's not his fault. It's bouncing because it's a card that doesn't have money.
Yeah, I mean, but ultimately, like, it should be cleaned up. Like, the functionality should be added. And I understand that that's a somewhat advanced functionality.
I don't even know
it's not...
I can't say for sure if Subscribestar even has that.
I don't know what to say. I don't know myself either. I just think that that's something that would make sense for it to have. And I'm just saying that the only reason I bring that up is because I believe it shows it's not a serious alternative that could actually outcompete Patreon and actually be a viable alternative for everybody.
It'll never outcompete Patreon. Just like, 9chan has no hope of ever taking over 4chan. 1776 Hosting has no hope of ever becoming the largest VPS provider. It's not about becoming, a true competition. It's about having a place for people who aren't welcome on the alternatives.
But it's not even really about that. It's about a place to have people who Dick likes who have been removed from other platforms. So there's not even really like a true moral high ground to it. Do you know what I mean? Milo's not allowed. Randbot's not allowed.
A lot of that is, I would chalk up to the law because of the U.S. Patriot Act. Like, you have to understand that a lot of the people Patreon gets rid of, people falsely assume that Patreon is directly responsible for deplatforming a lot of people, and I'm sure they are. But Patreon uses something called Stripe, and Stripe is a payment processor / gateway. And even Stripe, even though it is a massive financial banking institution that handles billions of dollars a year, right? Even they're accountable to all their payment networks, which includes Diners Club and Visa and MasterCard. And then they're accountable to the Federal Reserve, and they're accountable to the USA Patriot Act and the anti-fraud provisions of that. So, and MasterCard has rules baked into it where if you're on the ADL hate list, you can't be on their networks. And if you can't be on MasterCard's network, then Stripe has to drop you because of Visa Card's network. So you're completely... If someone gets on one of these
honestly,
lists...
I believe that your smartest move, and I know you won't listen, but I think your smartest move is to pull out of all this shit, is to pull out with any association with Dax, with Ethan Ralph, with me, with any of these internet famous people.
I'm probably going to.
Ricada,
in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to start.
Cut all fucking
dropping
ties, and just move on. Just move on as your own entity, and don't, because every time you get tied in with these guys, you're being asked to defend every action that they do. You're being questioned about them.
Okay.
There's questions about your intentions.
That's gay in and of itself, because it's like when people go to your parents and ask them to explain what you're doing. Like, I'm not responsible for Dick. I'm not responsible for Ralph. I'm not responsible for Nick. I'm going to limit my presence because I'm in a position in my life right now where I need to. But yeah, I'm going to look into Subscribestar, and I'm going to probably make my own site for Men at the Internet at some point because I need to have my own video archives and stuff. It's like, yeah, I have to do something to take care of myself.
I would just encourage you to do that, because the more that you're self-sufficient, and I know with you it's entirely possible because you're getting screwed, but the more self-sufficient you are, the more so you can just tell the whole world to kiss your ass, which is your mentality anyway, to tell the world to kiss your ass. So for me, it doesn't make sense to have Joshua Moon, who's his own man and strong in his beliefs, have any
I'm not
going to
give up a significant chunk of my income before I have an alternative set up.
Well, I'm not even asking you to do that.
You just said to cut all ties with them.
Well, eventually. You really should. You really should, because the guy is hammering out on Twitter about how your website is spreading misinformation and lies.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like that, but I'm going to handle it on my own. Like, outside pressure is not going to get me to do that.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why when you ask, like, what do I suggest you do? You know, like, I have no suggestions for you because you're going to just say F you. So that's why I didn't even bother initially. But now it's been
usually the suggestion is to get rid of New Project 2. It's like, I'm not going to. It's like when you hop jobs. Don't quit your job before you have a second job lined up. Don't quit a money source before you have an option to re-enable it somewhere else.
I mean, do you think that you're really allowed to quit New Project 2?
Do I think I can close my account? Absolutely I can.
You think you can? I just don't know. Like, I think that if close your account Project 2 ever, then the implication is that you're a traitor to New Project 2. You're a traitor to Dax. You're a traitor
What's
to
he gonna
Ethan
do?
Ralph. Well, they're going to go after you, and the accusations that
Ralph
you're
called
a
me a child. What more could he possibly do? He's going to sit on his ass during his streams, and he's going to get drunk, and he's going to, throw curses and shit, and that's what he does every night.
I don't think it'll just be Ethan Ralph. I think you'd be surprised what Rekieta will have to say about you, what Dame Pesos will have to say about you,
whatever
Toby
he says will be in
Kinley.
Spanish. I won't have to care.
No. Yeah, I just think you'll be surprised.
Okay, I disagree that Nick Rekieta is going to take any sides. I think Nick is too smart for that. Notice he's not involved. He's managed somehow to stay out of it.
Well,
as far as
no,
Ralph and Dame Pesos and shit, it's like, who cares? Dick can say whatever he wants. He might try to drag me in, like when Mumkey and Asterios had a falling out. He desperately tried to get them back on the show, but you just ignore it. You just say, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in promoting your content at this time. Thank you. Undersigned, Joshua Moon.
It's just getting to the point, Josh, where he's just putting public pressure on you now with the tweets. He's calling you onto his show with Ethan Ralph. I know it was Ralph that called you on, but I mean, we can't really rule out the option that Dick instructed Ethan to call you out to bring you onto his show. I mean, I can't rule that shit out, And I just wonder how much longer you're going to put up with this horse shit from these guys.
Well, they're not the ones giving me problems. I mean, Dick is now because of his back and forth with the site, but that was that's something recent. That wasn't the start of this.
Well, it's because now the chips are down, and he expects that his investment into you, Project 2, is going to pay off. That you're going to clean it up for him, that you're going to control the narrative.
He's an idiot because he's not invested anything into me. I've invested into him $45 a month. Where's that going to pay off? Well, it paid off in me being able to collect people's money. That's a business transaction. That's an arrangement.
I don't know.
That's not me coming to you on the day of your daughter's wedding and asking for a favor so that one day I will return the favor as a friend. I am giving you 3% of what I make. What the else do you want?
Well, you could say that not only are you being forced to kick a piece of the action to the Godfather, but that you've already run favors and paid off his investment by locking the thread and by deleting people's posts in the Simpspiracy. And they might be about Voldemort or whatever the...
No, I run spam cleaners on people who join specifically to advertise. Yes, I do that. I'm not apologetic about it. That's what those posts are. They are people who join specifically to advertise content that belongs to outside of his thread.
Yeah.
So I delete it.
Here's one for you. Here's just another one. What do you think about... Because did you see the Rekieta, my interaction with Rekieta and Dick on the show?
Yes.
Did you see that Zoom had Dick Masterson's phone number?
He had the phone number that is available on the contact page of New Project 2. Let's all do this together. Everyone in chat, go to newproject2.com. Okay. Also pretend that you're a obese, psychotic. Put yourself in the right state of mind. And you want to get a phone number. So scroll all the way down. We're doing this together. If you have your browser up, go to newproject2.com. Scroll all the way down and go to company. And you will see on the right-hand side, there's a lot of things there. It can be very scary, very confusing. Don't worry. We're gonna look together. See on the right-hand side, on the second column, New Project 2, but beneath that is support. And you will see a phone number. And that is the phone number that Corey Barnhill and Liar used to contact Dick Masterson on that day. Is it publicly available information?
So his personal cell phone number is publicly available?
That is a Google Voice number that forwards to a cell phone. Yes, it is.
Okay.
So if you here's what we're gonna do together as friends. Pull out your cell phone and go to the text messaging app and go to 626-817-6752 and type in "go f yourself, dick" and press the enter key. And I'm sure he will appreciate that.
He'll get it. Okay, so at least we know where the phone number came, how he got it. Now that's honestly the least of our concerns, though, really, because Dick says Zoom wants to come on. How does he know that Zoom wants to come on, for one?
Hello,
for two,
my name is Zoom. I would like to come on.
But it seems like they know who he is. And in fact, they do know who he is.
Dick knew who he was from the IBS Apocalypse.
Yeah. So they know who he is. And I tell them right away, I'm leaving if he comes on because he's a...
Yes.
And he's a lot... And then, inexplicably, so there's no defense of ignorance, they then decide to bring this man on.
No, Nick Rekieta said, no, you don't want that. And Dick seemed like, oh, this would be a great shit show. Let's do it. He didn't realize that by doing this, it would enable Corey Barnhill liar to start falsely associating himself with New Project 2. And I told Dick after this call, I said, look, dude, if there is any involvement of this guy with this project, I am gone. I am closing it right now. I am not waiting for an alternative to set up. I'm not waiting for Subscribestar to return my email. I will close it down. And I want all the user data purged from the processor and stuff. And he said, no, it's only been me. From the very start, it has only been me. Corey Barnhill, pedophile and Lyle, not his words, has had no involvement in New Project 2.
It really concerns me, man, because it just shows a huge error in judgment. You know, Dax has been told this man
terrible. I told him when he was talking about it, because I was watching live, I said, don't let this show he will... He doesn't. The association will.
You told him then. You told him.
He did. I told him over Signal. He didn't get Signal messages.
Oh, because just to me, it blew my mind when they brought him on after I left. It blew my mind.
Yeah,
I couldn't even believe what I was seeing because I told them he was. And there's no way to defend ignorance, play ignorance on this. They're platforming a pedophile.
I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew all the details. But he found out.
All I'm saying is you are banning for even mentioning this guy's name.
Oh, yeah, no,
because he's such a shit-stained piece
It's that
of shit.
in the Twitter conversation. It's like, don't around with this retard. His association is so toxic it will you. Don't do it.
But Dax platformed this guy, pulled him onto his show, intending. I think that Zoom would dox me or destroy me. And then the opposite happens. It's
the classic trap. Corey comes up to you, hey buddy, I got some great information on this guy. I have real hard hitting facts that I found all by myself by being a secret hacker. And then he gets on and he just shits all over the place like a monkey, just flinging shit at everyone, and it brings everyone down. He does it over and over again. Ralph tried to do it with me. Ralph tried to do it with other people too. It never works.
But Ralph tries to use this guy as an attack dog. You know, it didn't work.
Yeah.
His car got spray painted. It got up.
Yeah.
You know. Now Dick is. I can only assume trying to use him as an attack dog. There's no other reason to bring him on. Other than
he probably thought, this guy from IBS Apocalypse has the dirt, and that's probably what he said. Zoom probably texted him and said, "I have information that will lead to the arrest of PPP." And and
it was his last desperate card to play to try and avoid embarrassment from the fat, retarded, obese Canadian heckler who embarrassed him. And then after that, after Zoom came in, Gator came in with the broom to clean it up. For sake, I couldn't even have scripted it any worse for him if I had written it ahead of time.
Yeah, it was a bad move to let him onto the stream. I can't pretend from start to finish. Oh, here's an anonymous text from a guy like that you vaguely know of who has information, and Nick's telling you don't do it, and you do it anyways. And it's just like, that's
so
fucking
how
retarded.
can we trust this man's judgment when he's bringing on Corey Barnhill and liar as his attack dog?
Because the things that he's doing outside of that are legally protected requirements. If he f***ed up any other way, if he f***ed up in the way that you're indicating he might f*** up regarding judgment, that's his ass. That's everything that he's ever worked for gone instantly.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. Not if
Oh,
it doesn't come to
necessarily,
light,
because I'll make
not
sure
if
of
it
it.
gets swept up. Well, we'll see, because I don't know what the I mean, Zoom. I hate to say Voldemort's name. Is tweeting that he has access to the back end, that he helped write the thing.
Yeah, no, he's
You
lying.
know?
But it's his
I
fault
have no
that
doubt that he's lying.
it's
but now
Dick's fault
because
that he brought
him on,
that he brought him
because
on.
it now gives credibility to all of his
Yes, it
statements.
does. Because that's how Corey works, is that he will take anything and then attach onto it a bigger lie, and then if you try to detangle that lie, which takes you 20 times as much effort than it took for him to create it, and then in the process of trying to debunk it, you have merely given it credibility where it was a complete fabrication to begin with. Even if the credibility is like nothing, just a little bit, like 1 person out of 1,000 believes it. That's 1 person out of 1,000 who's going to tell other people, and that's just how he operates. That's why
what it introduces into anybody's mind is doubt in the platform. It really does.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
It introduced into my mind.
That's what he's going for. Is that it's not Dick. He doesn't give a about Dick. It's undermining the platform that other people he doesn't like uses.
Well, it's probably just you that he's pissed off at.
Probably
it might
Ralph,
be Ralph.
too.
I mean, the guy really doesn't have any true moral standard or any actual position. He's just trying to cause as much chaos as possible. And so and I understand that he's a bad faith actor. He really is. He's this chaotic, evil cunt from Dungeons and Dragons. Like, he's crazy as shit. But the problem is, like, when you know things about this guy and you then decide to platform him and present him as though he's your friend, then he shits all over you, and then he says that he was the one who wrote the back end, wrote the site, then produces like lines of code or some shit. The average person, like, I look at that, I go, holy.
Yeah,
holy
no,
fuck,
it's like with presenting the RSS feeds and saying that he hacked the platform. Like that's just how it is. Yeah, especially with tech stuff, he can lie about it a lot more with tech stuff because the average person doesn't understand it. The average doesn't understand what a IP address is and how it's used, and why servers have to look at IP addresses. They don't get it.
But what a terrible mistake for Dax to have made.
Yeah,
just terrible.
But I'm confident that he won't make similar mistakes again regarding him specifically. But I also don't believe that he would make mistakes regarding financial information because he, as a intermediary, is legally required not to, and he knows those requirements.
I don't know, man. When I take a look at Dax, like, I'm actually a little bit worried. The guy says he drinks every day before 3 p.m. Okay, the is like trapped inside 24/7 now. Before he was like a millionaire, he could travel the world, do whatever he wanted at any given time. Now he's trapped in like a cell. He's getting pressure from Kiwi Farms about his girlfriend being a cam whore. He's had some obese 400-pound Canadian heckler embarrass him. And like, he's spiraling about Kiwi Farms and tweeting about it every day.
Yeah,
to the point where I don't trust him to make logical decisions. I now believe that he is making decisions based on emotion and lashing out. And when you're dealing with a person like that, you can no longer trust them to make sound financial decisions, let alone any sort of, until the factors that are aggravating that behavior are removed, which this lockdown's not going away for a fucking long time, I
don't know. That's a bit of a stretch because the argument becomes he's angry on Twitter. He's angry at the Kiwi Farms. He had a bad stream and made mistakes that compromised the perceptions of the website. Therefore, it's reasonable to assume that he is in a state of mind that will allow him to leak customer information.
Here's why
I think
here's
that's too
another
far
piece of
detached.
evidence. Give me one more piece of evidence to prove the point. The man was about to take LSD, right? 80s girl told him, no, you can't take LSD right now because of what's going on online. It's going to, with your headspace, you're going to have a bad trip. And he didn't take the LSD. That to me is proof that he is being emotionally affected by this, because any other day he would drop the LSD. But that day he was worried that he would see my starfish and a black sun extending out from my asshole that would mind him and trap him in a thought loop for all eternity. So that's, I just think he's in a bit of a spiral, bro, because of that.
Yeah, I think he needs like time off. I think he needs to stop antagonizing people in the forum because it's not going to end well. I think he thinks it's funny
Josh,
right now
when
because
you're
it's just
telling
like
him that, when you're telling him that, he has a similar mindset to you. He is now going to say Josh is my enemy because he's telling me to tweet. You, Josh, you traitor.
I don't think that's true. I would expect that of Ralph. I wouldn't expect that of Dick.
Birds of a feather flock together, don't they?
Well, then you're just saying that I'm like Ralph because I'm on your project too.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the thing about Ralph though is that he's actually like driven out to LA to hang with Dick in the Barbie Dream Mansion.
Yeah, I was going to too before the coronavirus happened.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that you were going to go to the Barbie Dream Mansion to hang out with Dax and get firsthand, attention from the Don. Don't say that.
Don Corleone. Don
Herrera. Don Herrera. He's stroking his cat.
No, I mean,
Danny Josh, you haven't been cleaning it up too good. There's Hula Girl 86 all over the place. It's gonna be a time to get whacked, Josh. You're gonna be sleeping with the fishes.
Look, if someone wants to come from behind with clothes wire and take me out, just do it. Just do it. You don't have to ask permission from Don Corleone.
If you've been following that thread, then, because I haven't really been following this shit about it being a cam girl, or whatever. What the did they actually find evidence that his girlfriend was a cam whore? What the
So the thing with that is, from what I've seen, is that there is some sort of like very old image that is either her or a photoshopped image of her, and I think it's like attached to a cam profile or something. But nobody can find any like videos of it because supposedly the profile name is Hula Girl, and there's a picture of her from when she went to a book signing with Maddox, and she does have a Hula Girl tattoo on her hip. So theoretically, if this was like an actual cam profile, you should be able to find a video or a picture of her that has the same tattoo.
I see. Okay, because I've been looking at it and I'm like, fuck, I'm pretty autistic, but like even my autism right now isn't enough to grasp what's going on with this Hula Girl 86 shit, But it seems as though there's something there that's real, and I think it is. Like that's what's bothering Dax, is there's something there that's real. But I think if he hadn't kept poking the Kiwi Farms, and if he hadn't kept poking me and poking all this shit, it would have probably fizzled out.
No, it's a terrible idea to antagonize the site. It never works for anyone. I don't know why people think that, like, yeah, obviously the site's not going to kill you, but if you keep poking at it, eventually, there's that
you might kill yourself.
There's a
you might kill yourself.
There's a fake Sun Tzu quote that's like, if you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by. That is the forum. You wait by the river, and eventually you'll catch something fishing.
People are gonna float down, and this is why. Like, I just don't understand. He, as the Don, as your boss, like he should really be taking your advice in this specialized field seriously about how to clean it up.
I'm right.
Well, yeah, you're the head Janny. I don't know. Maybe his advice to just delete it all right away would have been the way to go. I don't know. If you just had deleted everything, doubled down and said it's my site, you, well, people probably still would have accepted it. If you had just right away said this, deleted
That's what
it.
I did say. Oh, I didn't delete anything.
Well, you could have. You probably could have got away with it, but now you can't just, delete it. Well, who knows? You might go full janitorial. Is that the next step? Is to just sweep it all up, get the big broom out?
Well, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna make any rash decisions because when things get stressed like this, it's like I should probably take a step back and review where we're at in a couple weeks when there's less emotions floating about. But
it's curious as to why you're stressed, though.
I'm stressed for a lot of reasons. Last month was really bad for me. This was a bad time for people to start antagonizing me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're telling me about being trapped in Serbia, and
Oh
trying
yeah,
to
no,
get back.
my visa situation's real bad. There's personal issues. It's the only thing I don't have to worry about right now is money. Oddly,
And this is, I think, why people might think that you
actually, no, I do have to worry about money because the banks are holding like all the T-shirt money. They're still holding that money, and they might hold it for like another 3.5 months. It's
what the what's going on with that?
The T-shirt money, they took all the money and said this looks fraudulent, so we're going to hold it, and we're legally allowed to hold it for 120 days. We might release it earlier, but we're allowed to hold it for 120 days, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Oh,
so all the T-shirt stuff, it's printed, it's going out to people, all on credit. All of it's on loans and stuff. So that's what's stressing me out more than anything is all that money.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough position for you to be in, and I hope that you can find some other alternative. Because again, I think that you do have a right to run your website. I don't think it breaks laws. I think it might be a bit shady. I think some of the shit that's done on there may not be the most moral or ethical or wonderful thing to do. But you do have a right to run it, and I don't want to see places in the world that are unique and different die. I think we have too much conformity and too much sameness as it is, without extinguishing the special places like Kiwi Farms where you can see exceptional individuals who do exceptional things. So I don't want to see you fucking out of business or whatever. I don't want to see the site and you and others be influenced by a payment processor that's run by a guy who's not just like a faceless corporate guy or some corporate entity. It's a flesh and blood person with his own personal vendettas who's famous for losing his temper, even though it's a character.
Yeah, it is a character. Like I've never seen him get mad in person.
Well, I have. I think he really was mad that night. He needs
to stop drinking. I don't know. You don't drink, do you? I mean, you do drink beer, but
I do. But like the difference is, like, I know when to stop most of the time. Sometimes I don't know when to stop. Sometimes I show my asshole. Sometimes an asshole. But this is why you need to get a handle on liquor, or it'll f*** you.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. Like, But for me, it's also a lot harder to get drunk. I'm a very big guy, right? So it takes about 9 beers before I feel a good buzz. And then, by 12, I'm feeling decently drunk. But I can drink a whole 2-4 in a single, session, sit there, kill a whole 26 of whiskey or vodka or whatever. Like on the night I showed my asshole, I killed an entire 40-ounce bottle of rum. And then, and then smoked a ton of weed. And, I'm just trying to do like the most entertaining show I possibly can. I'm putting thumbtacks in my head, bleeding everywhere.
I'm just saying, like, I have a natural dislike of dependence, because when someone becomes addicted to a substance, they lose a part of themselves that gets replaced by the substance.
Well, this is what the Bible talks about with substance, is that you're to let no thing become master over you. Any substance is lawful for the Christian to consume, but if you become dependent on it and it can then control your life and influence your decisions, then it's unacceptable. Yeah. I don't think there are very many Christians, although I do know some, say you can't lasso. Well, by that standard, you couldn't use mouthwash. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that the line to be drawn in the sand is the Bible does condemn like severe drunkenness and reveling, and it condemns being addicted to the substance. And that's where I draw the line with substance. I think if you can use them for the benefit and purpose that they're intended for in the time and season when it's necessary, then go ahead. But if you can't, you need to kick them, or you're going to be facing larger issues,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's sums up my criticisms of Day. It's like, number one, stop antagonizing the site, because for twofold, you're encouraging more problems for yourself, and number two, you're encouraging more problems for me. I don't like dependency in general. I think that drinking is a social thing and a thing for food, and if you drink alone, you're in trouble. And I guess number three, it's like, if he ever expected anything from me besides just to keep hosting my site, then I don't know. He's never made that clear to me, or he's never asked for anything, and I don't expect him to ask anything. Because what I think his investment was simply keeping the site up because it was a great source of information for the Maddox stuff. If any of the Maddox stuff he talks about comes from the site first.
Yeah. Well, definitely when it serves his purposes, the site is great. It's wonderful.
Yes.
The users couldn't be more swell. Fuck
As
Maddox,
hypocritical as
fuck
that
them all.
is the position everyone takes. Everyone has an idea of what the site is, and when they see something on the site that goes against that idea, they think something has changed, or they think that particular area is wrong, or it lost its way, yada yada yada. I've heard it for 7 years. It's the people, whatever you think the site is, you're wrong. You're just wrong. It's something different. There might be an area of the site that conforms to that idea, but it's always different.
Well, I don't know. Like, my assumption about the website that it was about absolute free speech and free speech reigning overall. I think basically what you've said is different.
I've tried to make it as free a place as possible, but at its heart, it's a comedy site, and it's supposed to be a place about talking about people and events on the internet and having fun doing it. And when people aren't having fun, when people are angry, when people are trying to ruin each other's lives because of gay shitty vendettas, I have to look at it critically and go, how do I make this fun again? And if the answer is getting rid of something, then I'll have to get rid of it.
See, because it seems to me like the fun of the site is ruining people's lives. You know,
no,
like that's how people have fun, though, isn't it?
No, I categorically reject that. And there was a big fight, not like a fight, but like a feud over the course of years between a certain contingent of the site and myself regarding if docs are obligatory for new threads. And I've always maintained that docs are not obligatory for a thread. You can make a thread about someone you don't know the real name of and who you don't know where they live if their content's funny, because that's what matters. If the thread is funny, that's all you need. So there's always been little schisms like that between the
it's
church.
Just like, I remember it being, you
said you don't use the site.
No, not on your site, but just on the internet in general. Like 10, let's say, even 15 years ago. Where the internet didn't seem to be a place where doxing was super common, where swatting wasn't like super common, where these things like weren't necessarily like a mainstream thing that happened. They might happen to like Jesse Slaughter or Chris Chan or somebody like that, but it's not going to happen to just the average guy who turns on a webcam and expresses an opinion. Whereas now it seems like in the last, I would say 5 to 8 years, that has become something that's now almost like a requirement in internet beefs and in drama and in gossip, that we need to do this shit to people. And like, I don't like that. I mean, you can't control that. I can't, but it seems like there has been a shift in the culture that way.
Yeah, it's a real gotcha. I think people take it too seriously. Like, I love Zed. I think that Zed does great work. He's a very smart, clever, and shrewd person. But his idea that a thread needs to have docs is just wrong. You don't need that information to be fun. I don't mind it getting posted. I really don't care if it gets posted. Either way. So I agree.
Because he had told me earlier, right? It's about ethics and cow milk, whatever. And I'm trying to figure out what.
Fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. It's always what it is.
It's just a question of like where the actual like lines of sand are. And I know that you're just a flesh and blood person, but
it's intangible. A long time ago, the forum used to have forum rules in big red at the top of the board, and I used to outline, the same kind of stuff, but I changed it to green and I made it forum guidelines instead, because I didn't like the idea that the site was strict. It's not legal. It's not like a piece of law that has to be interpreted by judges and stuff. It's what keeps the site fun. It doesn't matter. The guidelines, the rules don't mean shit. None of them mean shit. But when I put them out there, I say this is usually what keeps it fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm just trying to figure out like what the standard is. Because to me, like the idea I had of the website didn't necessarily match with what I was seeing with the locking of threads and the deleting of posts. Like for me, if I was you, even if they're referencing Corey Barnhill, liar, and to me, it would mean more to maintain, as you said, the purity of form of the site in terms of its ideological commitment to free speech than to remove those posts. But you've chosen the alternative position, and that's what I felt was
because number one, advertising his content is anti-fun, and that's not like a personal perspective. His content is specifically about degrading anything that he touches into making it to promoting him. He'll latch himself onto anything, inject himself into it, ruin it in the process, and try to build up his audience from the wreckage. Mm-hmm. So enabling him, it's not even just him. We had that issue with Gamer when Jace Connors was around. We had that issue with the Chris Chan extortionists. We got rid of them too. When people are doing things that fucks with my bread and butter, I will get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I can see where you're coming from. It seemed to me to be a contradiction where I was like, okay, well, the legend of Kiwi Farms is
the perspective of what it is always wrong. I will do whatever it takes to keep the site open and to keep it fun.
I just think also when you say that nothing he does is fun, I'll tell you this. He did the stream about flamenco and his docs and all that. I thought it was kind of funny, even though I disagree with the actions he took in it. I still thought some of the stuff he was saying was funny. But then again, that's probably one of the only times I've ever listened to the guy stream.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because when I hear him talk and he's got that dry voice, I'm just thinking of the call where he says that he masturbated to a 6-year-old girl being anally raped. And whenever funny, haha, silly stuff is happening on the stream, it's just like, no, I'm not enabling this creature to be on my...
Yeah, and I've never actually heard, like, I know what he said, but I've never heard the audio of him saying it, because it's not something I really even want to put myself through. It's not really my time to engage with him. But from day one that I've been in this community, people have warned me about Zoom and about Corey Barnhill. So I'm glad that people do know about him being a piece of shit before they associate with him. It just blows my mind when people like Dick, knowing what a piece of shit he is, knowing being told he's decide to platform the guy and drag him into this shit. And then the thing of it is then now, Zoom's going to be after PPP because I'm tangentially associated to this. So now I have to worry about Plate Gang showing up and vandalizing my place or hacking into my Ring doorbell or whatever and I just don't want to be dealing with that level of horse shit. But when Dax and people like Ethan and Ralph bring this guy in, it starts to become like prison rules. It starts to become like anything goes. This is open warfare. And honestly, it's going to end with somebody getting killed or being in prison or being in jail. Like that's what's going to happen. And like I don't want it to end that way. It shouldn't be this way. People should be having fun on the internet. It shouldn't be, going and calling out hits on buddy's car or his house or his parents. Do you see what I mean? It just blows my mind.
It's the whole point.
This is the problem: is Dax is enabling this behavior, and I think it's. I disagree with that. He's not enabling Corey Barnhill liar. Well, he
is. He did that one time, and he definitely would not. Yeah, he wouldn't. He won't do that again. I told him, you're not going to have anything to do with this guy, or I'm out.
We'll see. Like I can almost promise you, at some point in the few years down the line, Dick, if he's in a similar situation, might pull a similar, And one thing that bothers me about
I'm out. I told him nothing to do with this guy because I'm gone. Yeah. I can't. Like I'm not here to sit here and tell you who you can and can't be friends with. But like no.
I mean, one thing that bothers me too is. It seemed to me almost like maybe Dax brought him onto the show to dox Dick, and he knew all along what was going to happen, so that he can. So that because Dick's dox was already out there, it wasn't any new info. It wasn't really damaging to him, but what it allows him to do then
they took it down, they edited out the docs, and then put it back up.
Yeah, but people know, it gives them the plausible deniability that we're not really associated with Zoom, when for all we know. Everybody's info that Dick has access to.
I can't sit here and let you say that he's associated with Zoom because I'm telling you, I would be out overnight. I would not wait for Subscribe Star. I would be gone.
I hope he doesn't. There's no real evidence to suggest outside of that appearance on the show that he associates with Zoom. I'm just saying, like, I honestly, with how kayfabe and how gay things keep getting, you know, Ralph and Andy and Dick have all admitted to orchestrating drama in the past for viewership and for clicks and to hide shit. And like Bibble and Rand said that their argument a couple months ago was kayfabe. And so it just becomes like, well, what's real, what's not, and who's associated with who, and like what the is going on. It's really bothersome to me, you know. It's just, you feel almost like you're just being insulted, like your intelligence is being insulted by these people, as though they can just pull the con job over your eyes, you know.
Yeah, that's why I don't like gay ops. When people try to use the site for that, I say, no, you can't do that.
Now, Josh, we're probably nearing wrapping it up, but one thing,
Yeah.
you used the term gay ops. When did that get invented? When did we start using the term gay ops?
That was during the Kraut stuff. I don't like the term either, but you know.
Yeah, you know, like it's like there has to be some better term for that, because like some of it is trolling, you know, and that like, anything that's a troll now is gay ops, or anything that's you don't happen to like is gay ops.
It's just when it's when people and friends try to do contrived bullshit to with people, when it's just like, I don't know. Okay. It's hard to sum up. It's just,
yeah. Last section I wanted to get into with you, because we had this, honestly, I think like our first interactions in like 2 years was over this shit, was like the Ethan Ralph fight, where I was supposed to fight Ralph.
Yes.
And everything fell through.
Yes.
Do you think that Ralph is actually going to fight Andy Worski in Knoxville?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that.
Because this is what he's announced, right? Is like the replacement fight. And like, it just seems to me like he never had any intention of fighting me whatsoever. It just seems to me like this whole thing was just a deflection from like the new Project 2 stuff. And that's why your involvement in it, to me, like bothers me, because it felt like you were inserting yourself in it to distract from New Project 2 and create this arc of the Ralph versus PPP fight. And that's also why I'm not aggressively pursuing it at this point in time, because I feel like it's some sort of gay op to distract me from the narrative of New Project 2, you know?
I just wanted to see you guys fight because I thought it would be funny.
I think it would be funny too. I'm willing to do it for free. Like, I don't know what has to happen for it to happen, but the time of negotiation was poor anyway, because with the lockdown in place, all is going to happen for a long time. And I wish it could happen. And I wish that you hadn't have been the third man involved in it, because
you guys wouldn't talk to each other. Ralph, let me reframe. Sorry. Ralph refused to speak to you. Ralph refused to speak to you, and he refused to have you on on his stream or to go on your stream. I think it was entirely Ralph's fault that it didn't come together up until Godwinson refused to escrow.
Well, and I honestly don't know what to think about Godwinson's 5,000 pounds. He told me he had it. He told me he was ready to send it, but he wouldn't send it to an escrow.
I don't know if he just doesn't know what an escrow is or what. It's not like you're giving it to me. But I tried to explain that to him, and he started going like ape shit and just posting weird shit at me. I was like, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the was going on with the $5,000. All I really know is that if Ethan Ralph can't even communicate with me in DMs, if he can't, like, I'm not even asking to go onto the kill stream. It could have been a neutral platform. It could have been in direct messages. It could have been anything. But this idea of negotiating through a third party, Joshua Moon, and getting him this deeply involved in it, it's for the birds. That.
Yeah,
if I can't trust,
that's why I stopped. I sent you a message saying like I can't continue to be the third wheel on this. You guys have to talk to each other, and it just didn't happen. He refused to. The guy is just worried that I'm gonna try and embarrass him or say shit about him. It's gonna make him look stupid, which I probably would if he was being an asshole. But if he just wanted to talk business and iron out this shit, I'm more than willing to do that. And Ralph during his heyday would not have turned down that kind of a shit show. Ralph during the original. During the actual
even without Godwinson's money, even without his $5,000, this is a huge potential money generating outlet for everyone, you know, and it's a huge source of entertainment for the fans, and it's something that
and you talk, because I mean he's like a big wrestling fan. He's into that shit.
This is what I'm saying. And I know that the promo is back and forth. We could do a press conference in LA at Dick's place. We could do a press conference in Knoxville. We could do it like Floyd and Connor. And the press conferences would be so entertaining and so fun. But the guy he doesn't have any interest in making it happen for the people who want to see it.
No, I don't think. I mean, how tall are you? Do you know how tall you are in Imperial?
I'm about 6'3". You know, I like to say 6'6". You know, I'm 351 pounds as of last weigh-in. And so because of that, like, I personally have zero fear of the guy because he's like 5 foot. It says 1 on the police report. I don't know if he's 5'1". He might be 5'5".
He did a video way back when during Gamergate after he got arrested or something, and he's like standing next to a ruler. And I think he's saying he's like 5'6", 5'7".
Right, but like it's nearly a foot difference in height, you know, and it's like about 100 pounds difference in weight.
Yes, and
like neither of us are in shape, neither of us are trained, so like I just naturally think that he's. Now I wear glasses, so that's a disadvantage in terms of depth perception when it comes to like the striking aspect of things. And my left knee had a repaired ACL in it. So there's right there, I'm letting him know like the two main weaknesses and what he can exploit. But I just don't have any fear of him because as soon as I get my hands on him, he's going to go to his back. You know, I'm going to put him down and, you know, I'm going to be on top of him. And then I'm not going to be getting off. You're not going to get me off. It's going to be like lifting the moon. It's not happening. And then I'm just going to keep punching you in the face. And I mean, if I get into a full mount on top of the guy, he's going to be f***ed up. And the reality is I can probably pick him up and drop him on his head if I want.
Wait, people in chat didn't know that the corrections facility listed him as 5'1". I thought that was like the most famous thing about him.
No, people, you know, but he says that they left off the 0 and it was 5'10". I think that was offense. But I mean, he's not 5'10". Like I've seen him in pictures with Michelle Malkin. He's barely taller than Michelle Malkin. So that's where I go, well, what the but like the fight would be entertaining just to see the two beached whale walruses flash. You know, the flash just
it would be funny. That's why I was into it. I thought it was a funny idea.
You know, nobody thinks it's going to be the greatest fight of all time.
Oh, I do.
You know, nobody thinks.
I disagree.
For you, it is. It's no Ali Frazier or Tyson Holyfield or you know, Mayweather McGregor. But you know, the personalities in it. What really fighting is for people is, if you know the personalities and you're invested in the personalities, you'll enjoy the fight. You know, and that's the aspect of pro wrestling that a lot of times real fighting, like UFC and boxing, misses out on. But when you have a truly transcendent star that draws big money, like Conor McGregor, he gets that emotional reaction out of you, and you identify with him as like a good guy or a bad guy. You want to see him lose, win, and that's when you make money. And with me and Ralph, people want to see that. There's a built-in audience for it. It would make money, regardless of whether I stake $5,000 or not. You know? Yeah. I just don't see why you want to miss out on that business opportunity. It's honestly because he's worried that if I start getting on the microphone and yelling at him and saying he's a pill popper and a piece of shit and he'll lose fans. But the reality is, I think his fans like him because he is a total piece of shit. So no matter what I say, it's not going to affect anybody except people who might be new listeners. And I guess that's what he's worried about, is he won't be able to grow his show. You know? But it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me why it can't happen. And the idea of replacing
a fight can definitely. I mean, as much as she's given Zoom, like he did show up in a fight, and even though he lost, it's like whatever. If you guys agreed to a fight and you have a fight, good on you. Who cares? It can be done. It can very easily be done. Is what I'm saying. Anyways, it's been over 2 hours. So, you have any final sentiments?
No, I just think that I hope that things have been cleared up a little bit. People have understood your answers to the new Project 2 stuff. I hope people are satisfied that I pushed you enough, did enough follow-up answers, that, you know, there doesn't need to be any further back and forth on this issue in the future. And I hope that, you know, you found it to be at least somewhat profitable conversation. Is pretty much where I end up on.
Yeah, I mean, my response is that I'm beholden to no one except, I guess, the law, and I guess the banks, as we all are. If Dick has never asked me for anything, he knows I'd probably turn him down. I've turned down people who asked for favors in the past. The only thing is I just agree that he should consider how he responds and how that reflects on his properties, because he isn't doing himself a favor by arguing on Twitter.
No, I agree.
And I think
agree.
he should stop tweeting until the quarantine is over. I think that would be a good rule of thumb.
No doubt. All right. Well, it was good being on the show with you.
It's not really a show. It's just called A Conversation with PPP. That's it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you branded it Mad at the internet. I haven't looked at the
No,
chat.
the background is just whatever. It's just what's there.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, thanks for talking to me. I wish we had talked weeks ago.
Well, no, just things were really chaotic at that time, so it didn't work out. But, I'd love to talk to you in the future. It seems like our conversations, the two that we've had, have been somewhat reasonable. And I hope you don't think I've been acting as a bad faith actor in this, because I've been trying my best.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff you say is just like, I do think you disregard like things when you say it, and I wish you would stop, because it's frustrating. Because I really do. I liked you when you did your stuff way back when. So it's frustrating for me on a personal level to say like better.
Yeah, let me just say one thing, right? What you got to remember is it's similar to the Kiwi Farms. Everybody loves it until it's about, and then it's no longer acceptable.
Yeah,
I don't think my
true.
pattern of I don't think my pattern of behavior has really changed from when I first started to now. And I just think that, some of the tactics I use are obviously trolling, and I think people should be able to determine for themselves what's real and what's fake. I'm not your daddy. I'm not the person who has to tell you, okay, this is wrestling, this is a shoot, this is real. It's not. Figure it out for yourself. Because if a magician reveals all the tricks, then you don't want to see the magician anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's
a fair response.
But that's all. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
See ya.
Bye.